I swear you got it together. Good morning, everybody. Ben and Woods on 97.3 The Fan. That's not mine. I'm muted. There we go.
What's going on?
Who is it? Was that you? Was that me? Was it me again? I had it muted. I don't understand. Stupid camera. There we go. We're off and running on a Monday. There's a lot going on. Good morning, everybody. Ben and Woods again, as I said, on 97.3 The Fan. Let's get our heads right on a Monday, feeling much better. Everyone feeling a little more relaxed out there. I know I am. It's great to be here with you. I'm Woodsy. That's Paul Reindl. He's our executive producer, YouTube producer of all things. Good morning, Paulie.
Good morning.
How was the weekend?
It was good.
Good. Relaxing?
Yeah, I felt like I was fighting off something.
Yeah. Little.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel that way all the time.
I took a COVID test. It felt like it might have been like a low grade COVID, just like that kind of soreness, the achy.
Oh, you were achy.
Sore, tired. Had the warm eyeballs. You ever have the hot eyeballs?
I never had hot eyeballs.
Oh yeah.
I have dry eyeballs a lot. Never the hot eyeballs.
Yeah.
That's
but
weird.
Got a lot of rest and feeling fine.
It's nice. It must be nice to get a lot of rest.
Oh.
Benjamin Higgins is your friendly neighborhood sports anchor. Wait, no. What did I say I was going to start calling him from now on? I said it Friday. He is our Minister of Homeland Exploration. Secretary of Homeland Exploration. I need to write that down and put it on a sticky here. Ben Higgins, our Secretary of Homeland Exploration. Good morning, Benjamin. How are you?
Good morning, everybody. My eyeballs are normal temperature, and I'm ready to go this week.
Now, I'm a little concerned already. We're 3 minutes into the program, and you have now figured out how to
comment.
Yes, but it's not just that's not what worries me. I love that you're engaged and want to comment. I am the ADHD guy on the show, but you're really the ADHD guy on the show. I can literally comment right now. Good morning, everybody. And I can also continue to have a conversation. That is not something that is one of your strong suits.
I can't do two things at once. I can focus on one thing pretty well.
Oh, yeah,
but
absolutely.
I can't do multiple things at once very effectively.
So we have now basically judge and jury. We're on camera every day. So you will see Ben a couple of times during the show if something and I'm in the middle of a diatribe and I look to Ben and Ben's like,
what'd you say?
Yep, Wednesday. And I'm like, you have no idea what I just said. So yeah, I'm happy that you're engaged. That said, we just need to monitor you a little bit. Our audience will help. They can help.
They're good.
Yeah, they're good with that. How was your weekend?
It was good. I didn't do a ton. I did go see Air with my son.
You did? Was it awesome?
Yes, that late show on Saturday night. We had dinner at home, and then it was like, it's 8:00, and I wasn't that tired. And he said, "Hey, let's go see the 9:00 show of Air."
Yes.
So he and I went to the movies. Just not something I do a ton anymore, but went and watched it. And Matt Damon, Ben Affleck, Jason Bateman was a thoroughly enjoyable watch.
I feel like it's correct me if I'm wrong. Does it feel a little like Winning Time on HBO was? Is it kind of that vibe?
Well, they incorporate some clips, from the 80s and pop culture from the era to kind of get you into the mood. A lot of 80s music, which I, of course, enjoyed tremendously. And it was fun to kind of see Nike portrayed as essentially kind of a third-rate company.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Back when they're still just making running shoes. They're doing really well in the running shoe market.
They're like, we're getting killed by Schlesinger right now.
But yeah, Adidas and Converse were the two big basketball shoe behemoths, and they were also Rands. They had no stable of great, athletes, basketball players that wore their shoes. Everyone wanted to wear the Converse or the Adidas. And, Michael Jordan really wanted to wear the Adidas coming out of North Carolina. He loved their shoes.
How could you not, when we all grew up seeing Magic with the purple and yellow Adidas and Bird with the green and white, and they're back to back like they're about to have a gunfight. Now, also an ad you couldn't do these days. That said, that was everywhere when we were kids, Ben. that was it right there. That's all you wanted. You wanted some of those Converse. You thought they were just the coolest things ever. Amazing reviews for that movie.
Yeah, and I don't know how exactly true to real life it was, but Viola Davis plays Michael Jordan's mother.
Yes,
and she's great in everything.
Bro,
and
you could put incredible. You could have her as the president. You could have her working at an ice cream cone stand. She would steal the show.
And
She's unreal.
She was great, and that was a fun part of it as well. So yeah, fully thumbs up endorsement for Air. Not groundbreaking. I don't think it's going to win a ton of Academy Awards, but it was an enjoyable 2 hours.
I don't want to spoil anything.
Yeah, we already know.
I'm aware of.
I know how it ended up, but
let me guess.
Yeah, let me guess. Michael Jordan rises to prominence. Nike makes a buttload of money. Thank you. I got it. I knew the story. I still want to see how.
And having met Sonny Vaccaro a couple of times over the years through high school basketball tournaments and the old radio station that he was on regularly. Seeing Matt Damon doesn't really look much like Sonny, but it was still a fun watch.
Pretty wild, man. I don't know what got into me last night, but instead of even watching Succession on a Sunday night, I had watched about 2 periods of the Dallas Stars Minnesota. Is it the Wild? Yeah, Wild. Minnesota Wild game, and that was awesome. It was playoff hockey. Stars were down 2-1. In the series, and they came back to even the series. Now, I probably rubbed off on me from the night before working the Seals game. That was just incredibly violent, had a playoff type atmosphere, guys in the penalty box all night. That was one of the most fun games I've ever. We won by 10 goals, which is a blast because I feel like every home game we play is on the edge of my seat and tense, and we win by 1 late. This one was a cruise, just cruising, calling our own goals. But the fights, oh my, there's actual blood.
Wow.
The back and forth in the penalty box all night was, we get up 5 goals, you're dead. And I'm like, oh, it was the best theater. It was so much fun. So I wanted like more of it. I had maybe a little bit of bloodlust. So I put on the playoffs and watched the last 2 periods of that. It was incredible drama. So then I finish up with that. I'm like, I need more. I want more sports in me, which is very weird for me because I'd watched a ton of baseball this weekend. So I went to ESPN Plus, and we get a login here through the station. And so I clicked on like the 30 for 30s, and I watched that Lakers Celtics docu-series. And it's 3 parts. It's called like Best of Enemies. And it blew. I'm going to go home and finish it today. It blew me away. And it's funny, you were talking about, the Bird against Magic and those origin stories. We all saw it in Winning Time. We all know the stories, but to actually hear like some old school video and hear the old school audio. I mean, Larry Bird saying essentially, it took me about 2 hours into minicamp, my first minicamp, to know, oh yeah, this league ain't nothing. And I will dominate this league. I'm like, are you kidding me?
That's the opposite of how most rookies end up in the NBA.
Yes.
I dominated college. This is going to be easy. And then they show up and go,
oh God, man,
even the 9th best player on this team would have been like the best player I played against in college. This is not easy.
I can't remember who it was. I want to say it's Vernon Maxwell, but it's not Vernon Maxwell. There's another Maxwell.
Cedric Maxwell.
He played for the Celtics?
I don't know. There's a couple of Maxwells.
So he played for the Celtics, and he's like, I'll tell you this right now. I didn't think white boys could play. Never. He goes, I will tell you right now, I was prejudiced against white people playing basketball. He goes, and then Larry Bird showed up. And then the next year, Kevin McHale showed up. So God punished me by putting me with the 2 best white players to ever play the game of basketball. And boy, did I learn, white boys can play. It is riveting. I mean, and I was texting you guys about it a little bit. If you haven't seen it, it's on ESPN Plus, Best of Enemies. So very good, so entertaining. So yeah, Air would be a perfect fit for where I'm at right now. I'd love to go watch that, and I'll of course wait till it's on iTunes and pay like $49 for it. That's probably the move. Watch it. Take me a week to finish it because I'll watch it while I'm falling asleep. But
yeah, I mean, honestly, I think we paid $17 for our movie tickets, which used to
not bad at all.
It didn't seem that bad anymore.
No.
It's like, all right, well. We shared some popcorn, and
it was, pick up your popcorn fun. After when you dropped.
I did not pick up all the popcorn in the movie theater.
I thought that was your thing. I thought you were the
no.
I thought
I was the guy who said you don't.
Oh no, you let him clean that up.
I was going to say you let the people whose job it is,
the servants, right?
Who's got the sweeper and the broom, and
that's what your quote was. That's what those servants get paid.
It's not
to do.
what I.
That's what the help is for.
That's it, Paulie. That's what the help is for. Is what you said.
That's
something to that effect.
That's part of what you are paying for in the price of your ticket on an airline or a movie theater, is that someone is going to clean up a little bit afterwards for you. Not an excessive amount, but a reasonable amount of pickup. A few pieces of popcorn here or there.
Right.
It's going to be handled for you.
By the help, is what you said.
Otherwise, you can just watch it at home and do it yourself.
Right. I got you.
I mean, they are very helpful. I don't like to call them the help, but they are helpful people. It's always good being helpful.
Well, it was a good weekend at our house. We had a T-ball game. Took the kids yesterday to Belmont Park. Now, I have not been to Belmont Park in a long time, in a very long time. They have
tourists and parents of younger children who need an activity.
Yeah,
is generally Belmont Park.
Wife had the day of showings for a real estate agent as she is. And so I said, yeah, I don't want to be here all day. Let's just go do something. And Belmont Park is a sponsor of the SEALs. And they always show the videos, and it shows our SEALs guys out having fun and riding rides and doing stuff. I go, let's just go there. So we didn't really know what to expect. I hadn't been there in forever. The last time I was there, it felt like the only thing that was there was the Dipper, the roller coaster.
Yeah.
Bro, they've knocked it out of the park.
Have they?
Oh my God, there's so much new cool stuff in there. Went in, bought some tickets, had about an hour to kill before it opened. Got on the rides. We rode every ride that the kids were old enough and tall enough to ride twice before anybody really even showed up. So we were there an hour and a half.
They have like a surfing wave.
Yeah,
pool,
they have a
like,
whole pool inside. Bo's kind of looking over and like, can we go in there? I'm like, no, we're not going in there right now. Went to the arcade, did all the rides and stuff. So fun. They had such a blast. And then, they were a-holes the rest of the day, but that's to be expected when you get that much.
Did you over sugar them?
Not even sugar, just maybe over junk food in them a little bit. They each had like a croissant for breakfast, and then we had corn dogs, and really working hard on their diets.
Sounds like a balanced meal.
Yeah, very, very balanced. Mm-hmm.
Pastry followed by battered processed meat.
Yeah.
And then dessert.
It's good. No dessert, actually.
Okay.
No dessert. I did withhold the dessert from them, but they were great, man. We had a really fun time. So if you haven't been out there in a while, they've really put a lot into it, and it's a really cool spot. So we had a blast, and that was my weekend, just dad and sports.
Well, if you are just joining Ben and Woods for the first time, we are the morning show that never withholds dessert, and we talk a lot of Padres. Not from ourselves. That's what I mean. Talk a lot of Padres.
How did you
baseball,
gain all the weight?
including we'll get to this weekend's series in Arizona. Pretty nice weekend for your San Diego Padres. A solid performance other than Friday night. 3 out of 4 series victory, and we will talk about where the team stands going into their first off day in 18 days.
Not good enough, somebody said in their car just now, I promise you.
Probably.
Guaranteed.
Half a game out of first place, though.
I'll take it.
Ain't no good, man.
Coming up in the second half of Ben and Woods, we'll have our regular Monday guests. It's Jake Mintz's turn from Cespedes Family Barbecue. He will join us on a Grand Old Barbecue Monday to talk about everything going on in Major League Baseball and on their terrific podcast that they do, and all kinds of videos and stuff. And then Sammy, in-season Sammy, Sam Levitt, our pre- and post-game show host, always checks in after the weekend that was Talk Padres baseball at 9:35. Before that, all of our regular features, including Don't Do This, Take on Woods, and up next, the Daily Ditty, Paulie with the selection and the theme this week for our musical introduction to the show at 6:20. That is coming up next as we get started on a new week of Ben and Woods. Glad to have you all with us. Let's check traffic and get going here on 97.3 The Fan.
There is a bad word in here at some point.
Not in this one.
Oh, clean. Did
Yeah.
you get to clean it up?
I did.
Oof.
Because yes, I'm aware.
It's like a really bad word. The F word, Ben.
I figured that's what you referred to.
But not in
Is that the theme? Like songs with bad
songs
words?
with the F
No.
word in it?
No.
'Cause I can do
That's
that.
a weird theme for a radio program, but
Yeah.
So this is "Damn It" by Blink-182.
that's got a bad
Which I
word
guess-
right in the
Damn it,
title.
Ben, that's a bad word.
Damn it.
And it was actually, this was the video. I saw this clip going around from Coachella, and it was cool just to see them back on stage. And they were singing this song. And right when they say the bad word, he cut his mic, turned it to the crowd. They filled it in. They filled in the
yelled
blanks.
the bad word.
So
The radio clean title is "Dang It."
Dang it.
Dang it.
Yeah. That's
Just
the radio
like
clean.
Dang it.
Gnarls Barkley has that song "Forget You." Which
Yeah. But
I didn't even realize for
Was
many years was
F
not
you.
really
yes.
"Forget You." That was just the radio clean version of that
Yeah.
song.
Agreed.
But anyways, the theme is bands or artists with numbers in the name.
Oh, number
So I
bands.
did
Okay.
Blink.
It sounds like a take on
182.
Woods theme at some point.
That does. That you could do both there. Well, big wins over the weekend, right? Big wins.
Two
Everyone's
big wins
happy.
Saturday and Sunday.
Everyone's happy. Get to come in on a victory Monday today. Everyone's feeling a little bit better, taking 3 of 4 from the dreaded Snakes. And listen, I mean, that's nothing to sneeze at, Ben, the way that the Diamondbacks had been playing. So I was pretty happy with the results over the weekend. You hate getting shut out. Those are never fun with this offense. You feel like it should never, ever, ever, ever happen, but it's going to because it's baseball.
Yeah, I mean the offense has definitely taken its sweet time getting going, and it's not even going yet.
No.
You had a huge game from Matt Carpenter yesterday with some help from Jake Cronenworth. Other than that, it's the top of the order still has not been consistently producing. Of course, nice to see Fernando Tatis Jr. get his first home run of the season on Saturday, but ultimately Padres will need their offense to get going at some point. Manny Machado is going to have to start performing consistently. Juan Soto has to do, he still gets on base and he had a couple of singles, hard ground balls, but you're going to have to start, lining the ball the other way, hitting for power like he was doing for most of his career before he got to San Diego. If the Padres are going to be the team that we hoped they are going to be, they cannot win a World Series with a 200 hitting number 2 and number 3 hitter.
No,
that's not going to happen.
No, it's not. It's not going to happen at all. Again, you hate to. You don't want to come in and brightside anything because the numbers are what they are. You did see, again, some hard hit balls from Manny yesterday. I feel like he just missed a couple again, but he just missed a couple last week. They're just not going out of the yard for him at all right now. The swing looks okay. He's pounding the baseball to the opposite field. It's not going out. There's just he's a tick off. So again, contributing with his glove as he always does. That play he made yesterday was just staggering, and it was so much more than just an out in the 4th inning. I mean, it's so much deeper than, oh, cool. No, we needed that out, Manny. You could see the Diamondbacks about to get on a roll, and to snuff out a big inning like that, I thought was really, really fantastic. Let you stay in and do his thing for a few more innings, and I thought Yu Darvish pitched really well, even again without his best stuff. We'll get into all of the specifics of the game, but I'm really happy with the results, taking 3 of 4.
12-12 is not where we expected them to be, but given how challenging the April schedule has turned out to be, they have played nothing but teams that have gotten off to at least hot starts, whether you think the Diamondbacks are going to still be there at the end. And by the way, if they don't suffer a bunch of injuries, if their pitching staff maintain somewhat intact, I don't think this team is going away. You watched the way they played this weekend. Yeah, the Padres took 3 out of 4, but they were battling all the way through.
Pesky.
They are very pesky. They're going to be hard to put away. This team, Torey Lovullo, seems like he's got a pretty decent team there in Phoenix. I don't think they're going away. Obviously, the Braves are very good. The Brewers look like they're off to a great start. They've been playing good baseball. You've been playing tough teams to start the season. And yeah, you're 12-12. But you haven't played yourself out of it. You're a half game out of first place. Got actually another hot team coming up Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday with the Chicago Cubs. But at some point, the schedule is going to lighten up. And at some point, you figure Manny Machado and Juan Soto are going to get locked in. And when those two things coincide, my guess is the Padres are going to go on a fairly impressive run, where they're going to be able to jump into first place, maybe put some distance between themselves and some of the other teams, because the Dodgers have not taken advantage of the Padres' slow start, which is great. They're just 12-11 at this same point in the season.
Well, you got to think too. The Arizona Diamondbacks before this series were playing some of their best baseball. That enabled them to get off to such a hot start. The San Diego Padres are not even close to playing their best baseball by a long stretch. And they're a 500 team right now, and it's been a grind to get to 500. But let's get through April. Let's get through that gnarly end of the schedule ends today, right? That's done.
Yeah, I mean,
you get that not gnarly in the fact that
but
good teams,
but in terms of no off days,
yeah, you got
18 in a row, 24 out of 25. Even Bob Melvin after the game finally kind of admitted it and said, we have been basically needing an off day ever since that night game in New York, the Sunday night game, and then having to go fly right away and play again. I mean, it's been a whirlwind.
It has.
Hardly can tell what day of the week it is right now. So they badly needed an off day. They are getting it today. They'll get another one on Friday. Yes, it's partly traveling to Mexico City, which won't be that easy, but the Padres have been in a gnarly stretch here.
They have. That's what I mean. This off day today is well deserved. I hope the boys went out in Chicago last night and tasted all of the fruits that fabulous city has to offer. They landed today.
About 9. I saw Jesse tweet.
You got plenty of time.
That it was 95 degrees when they took off in Phoenix.
Yep.
And it was 37 degrees when they landed in Chicago.
Yeah, but you go check into the hotel, head on out. The bars are open until 5 a.m. there. Have a blast. Go out there and hang out with your teammates, get some food. Shut it down today, relax, get your rest, and come back out and get ready for another, pretty decent stretch that you're going to be,
What would you do on a Chicago off day, but knowing you had to get up and work the next day? So what today, what's the...
Well, you need to ask me what I would have done last night.
What would you have done last night?
I would have gone down to Tavern on Rush. As soon as I landed, I would have checked in my hotel room. I would have showered, changed, gone down to Tavern, had some food. There's a really good place across called Dublin's. It's a bar, but the food is like a 5-star restaurant. It's unbelievable. I would go down there. I would eat. I would drink at Tavern. If I was a single man, I would be looking for ladies to have drinks with, have fun with. They're very fun in Chicago. They're like super attractive, but they're also nice. It's the weirdest place ever.
Midwest.
The Midwest. Like, hey, how are you? You want a beer? It's my treat. Like, yeah, I'll have a beer. How you doing? I'm a big league baseball player. They're just, everyone is in such a good mood. They're just so kind there. It's really, really nice. So that's what I would have done. I would have taken the boys down to Tavern on Rush and blown it out last night and slept it off in the hotel today, and then gotten treatment and gotten ready for a big series against the Cubs.
Maybe a stroll along Lake Michigan.
Yeah, you can do that. I'd hit the Magnificent Mile, buy a couple of things. They got every store you can imagine, and just
I've always
see the city.
Okay. So this is a question, because you see the videos and the pictures that they post of the guys dressed nicely getting onto the plane. I wonder how much shopping they do on their off days.
Probably a lot.
They got some disposable income being baseball players.
I bet you Manny brings an empty suitcase with him.
So,
I bet he travels with whatever his gear is, and then an empty one for all the gear he's going to buy in cities like Chicago, New York, that have the higher
stop by
stuff.
The nice places like a Louis Vuitton, or make sure you've got all the nicest stuff, right?
They're dropping. You guys think Blake Snellzilla isn't out at the Nike store today as we speak right now, like waiting for them to open? Yes, he's there right now, this moment, ready to buy 14 pair of shoes. That's such a great city, man. It's my second favorite city in the world, and I think they're going to have a blast. And yeah, man, getting to play at Wrigley Field, you're going to see some old teammates over there, certainly. And again, a hot Cubs team, a team that pitches pretty well. They've had some timely hitting. They got Patrick Wisdom, who's on fire right now. That's a guy you can't let beat you. So it's going to be fun, man. It's always fun to see your team playing at Wrigley Field, isn't it? It's always cool. It is. It's never not cool to see them playing at Wrigley. I know the weather's going to be ass, but you know what? It's going to be bad for them too. You got to figure it out.
All right, we will take a quick time out. When we come back, we'll focus in on yesterday's game with our Padres wrap-up, get all of Jesse's highlights from the 7-5 win over the Arizona Diamondbacks to take the series 3-1, and then we'll be off and running here on a Monday morning with Ben and Woods on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. All guests on Ben and Woods appear on the Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad fan hotline. Save money the right way with Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad. Visit them today in the Carlsbad Auto Mall Chevrolet. Find new roads. Again, I will have Jake Mins from Cespedes Family Barbecue at 8:35 this morning. In season, Sam Levitt, who I almost feel bad having him on today. Sammy sent a very
Why?
Well, he sent a tweet just how badly he needs an off day finally, because
Let's give him one.
I mean, he's been on pre and post for 24 of the last 25 days. That was coming straight off of his basically month plus straight in Arizona for spring training. He hasn't had a chance to breathe in the last 2 months.
Give that man a day off.
If he wants to, he wants to sleep in, if he wants to just hit the spa, whatever he's doing this morning, and skip his appearance, we'll happily talk to him another day.
Okay. Yeah, I have no problem with that. I don't want to grind Sammy down to the bone. I mean, look, these first 24 games, there's no getting around it. They've been a grind. They've been a grind to watch. They've been a grind to cover. The probably roughest 24 game stretch, even when the Padres were, remember a couple of years ago when they went off the cliff, I had taken a week off to go take my son to Texas to see my family. And I decided that week, I'm shutting the mother down, man. I'm not going to be on Twitter. I'm going to watch the game still. But, I expect them to turn it around by the time I get back. They never did. And those were grindy. But after a certain point, Ben, you looked at it and went, they're going off a cliff, and there's nothing anybody can do to stop them. No Jace Tingler. Nobody's going to be able to get these guys to go off the cliff. And they did. They also didn't have a tenth of the talent that this team has here. They had a very, very injured Fernando Tatis Jr., who, by all accounts from people in the organization, said probably should shut it down, but he still went out there and tried to play through it. You had infighting. You had Tingler losing the locker room. I mean, they went off the cliff like Thelma and Louise, and there was nothing anybody could do about it.
And I think there's some Padres fans who think that there are similar problems right now, and I couldn't disagree more.
I don't see that.
The record isn't what you want it to be, but I've actually been somewhat impressed by the way they've grinded out 12 wins.
No doubt.
Without having a bunch of guys hot, every once in a while, like yesterday. We'll get to the highlights here in a second. Matt Carpenter stepped up with a big game. Jake's had a big game or two. I mean, everyone's kind of had their moments, but no one's really been consistently hot outside of Xander Bogaerts to start this season. It's tough to win games when you have only one consistent producer in your lineup.
Yeah, that's the Angels for like the last decade before they got Shohei, and it's even difficult for them to win games with two of the best players in the world. So, no, if Sammy needs a day, man, I say give him a full day. We'll be fine. We can cover it, and he deserves it. He's been working his tail off for this radio station and us in particular, man. He showed up every day for us in spring training. So, if Sammy needs a day, give him a day.
But if he wants to come on, then we're not going to stop him.
Just give him a day.
He's got a day.
He was reaching out for help.
It did look like he was
a cry for help.
Yeah, a little bit.
He's like, I just don't know if I can.
No,
do
you know what?
Ben's like, well, if you want to, you still can.
We can handle talking about yesterday's win on our own. We will do that. Our Padres wrap up coming up after this check of traffic on 97.3 The Fan.
From the Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad Traffic Center, part of the Premier Auto family, here's Kelly Damick.
Couple things to watch out for. Stop on 805 before Governor. Reports of a camper shell in the left lane. Also, westbound side of the 8. Getting reports, so it looks like a boulder between the two right lanes, and looks like a vehicle may have struck that boulder. That is in the center divide. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben and Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
I love winning, man. I love winning. You hear what I'm saying? It's like better than losing.
Miss any of yesterday's Padres game?
Did you catch a game last night?
Well, we've got you covered.
Thank you.
It's the Padres Wrap-Up with Ben and Woods.
Let's go! It's our house right here, baby.
Presented by Hamul Casino. With thrilling slots and tables and all the best rewards, Hamul Casino has all the fun you're looking for. Hamul Casino, fun above all else. On 97.3 The Fan.
That is the ball game, and that is a winner. Jamison delivers, and that ball is hit in the air to left center field, not deep. Carroll and Thomas are both there. It'll be Thomas making the catch. Tagging at third base is Soto. He'll come in to score without a play, and a sac fly for Jake Cronenworth gives the Padres a 1-0 lead here in the first. Jamison really laboring here in the first inning, and this pitch hit in the air to deep center field. Thomas racing, straight back, still going back. It's off the base of the wall. Manny has scored. Bogarts is rounding third without a helmet. Here's the relay to the plate, not in time. He scores standing up, and for the second consecutive day, Matt Carpenter, a double in the first inning, drove in one last night. This a 2-run double, and the Padres lead it 3-0. Ball on a strike. Here's the pitch. Carpenter swings, hits it in the air to left field. Carroll measures it up, makes the catch. Cronenworth tagging. Here comes the throw. No chance to get him. He'll slide in feet first with the 4th run of the day. Sack fly, Matt Carpenter. He's driven in 3, and the Padres lead it 4-0. Carroll not running, and the ball hit in the air to deep right. Fernando back towards the corner on the warning track, gets there and makes the catch. Both runners tagging, both runners advance. A sack fly for Evan Longoria, and the Diamondbacks have their first run of the day. It's 4-1. Darvish deals, and the pitch lined and caught by Manny at third base, lunging to his left. Machado went airborne, came down hard, but made the play 2 away.
Cat-like reflexes from the Minister of Defense.
And this pitch hit in the air to deep right field. McCarthy's going back on the track at the wall, turns around, and there it goes. A home run for Matt Carpenter. Had a 2-run double in the first, a sac fly in the third, and now a solo shot here in the 5th. Padres are back up by 4. It's 5-1. 0-2 on Carpenter. Mantiply deals. That's a hard hit line drive into left center field. Carroll and Thomas coming together. He split the gap. Up against the wall, another extra base hit. Cronenworth will come in to score. Carpenter into second with another RBI double. His 3rd extra base hit of the day, and 7-1 Pods in the 7th. Here's the 0-1 pitch. Ahmed hits one in the air to deep left field. Soto goes back to watch. This one going to go beyond the bullpen in left field here at Chase Field. And the Diamondbacks go back-to-back to start the 7th inning. 7-3 San Diego. 0-1 from Hill, hit in the air to deep right field. Fernando going back into the gap on the track at the wall. Going to go. Home run, Jake McCarthy, his first of the year. 3rd home run in the last 2 innings for the Diamondbacks. And all of a sudden, this is a 2-run game. 7-5 here in the 8th. Here's the 1-1 from Hader. That is swung on and popped up. First base, foul ground. Cronenworth drifting across the line. Near the side, warning track. He makes the catch, and the ball game is over. Padres take 3 out of 4 here in Arizona. Hader saves all 3. And don't look now, but the Pods have won 4 out of their last 5 games.
3 out of 4 is tough to do. So, these guys have played well all year. There are a lot of things they do really well. We were able to shut down at least a little bit in the series, and to be able to take 3 out of 4 from a good team on the road, we'll take it.
Every time. Every single time we'll take it.
Have a day, Matt Carpenter. So, Matt Carpenter went into the weekend hitting 162.
He did. He had been barreling a lot of baseballs, though.
Yeah, I don't feel like that was reflective of how he's played over the first.
He comes out of the
games.
weekend hitting 238 and also leading the Padres with 13 runs batted in this season.
The other thing I like about Matt Carpenter, what he doesn't do, he doesn't hit ground balls. He is not your typical ground ball merchant. So if he misses, he Ks or he barrels one. So I'm absolutely fine with that. Ground balls in this league, even with the banning of the shift, which is yes, they have banned the shift. Teams still shift. You can still cheat up the middle. Padres have been robbed several times on hard hit balls up the middle. We saw it happen to Manny last week. Teams still know where to play guys and position them. You're not going to have that guy in deep right field. But that being said, man, that's what Carpenter has done. I know all the results weren't there exactly, but when he hits it, he barrels it, and he barrels it in the air. And that's a valuable thing, to not have another guy in your lineup that is rolling over to second base for really easy outs.
That is the anti-Eric Hosmer right now. Of course, and Juan Soto has been hitting a lot of ground balls lately. I mean, that's not historically who Juan Soto is,
Correct.
But certainly of late, Juan Soto's pulling a lot of balls on the ground. And a few got through this weekend, to his credit. He hit them hard, and they found holes, but sometimes those are ground out. Sometimes they're double play grounders when you hit them hard on the ground to the right side.
It's my favorite part of baseball. It's always so fun to watch a vaunted offense do its thing, right? It would be, and it will be, because it's going to happen. Ben and Paul and everyone listening, it is going to happen. That day will come when Tatis will lead off with a ringing double off the wall. Then Soto will yak one into right center gap. Then Manny will come up and hit a 2-run bomb. and then Xander will come up and start a double, and we're going to keep going. There's going to be times when all four of those guys do damage at the top of the lineup. One of my favorite things about baseball is the next guy being able to say, all right, man, like, I got us. I'm feeling good. I'm locked in, like Matt Carpenter had yesterday, like Ha-Seong Kim with a big hit the night before. Guys that had been, quote unquote, struggling a little bit. I love so much when the other guys step up and go out and win you a baseball game. That's what you need. You cannot be carried in this game by even an elite top four, because then that would leave you 5 other spots in the lineup that could be looked at as black holes. So when everybody contributes, man, those are my favorite games to watch.
Yeah, the batting averages are still ugly.
Yeah, they're ugly.
They pretty much had their full powered lineup in yesterday. Tatis 167, Soto 198, Machado
that's such a
220.
It's such a misnomer. And that's why it's not that I'm not going to get on here today and say batting average doesn't matter. I'm not. What I will say is Tatis has hit some balls on the screws, right at people. Manny Machado has hit some balls right on the screws, right at people. I'm thinking Nelson Cruz he's in a funk right now. He's in a bad slump, not seeing it as well as he had been. But guys are hitting the ball hard, and especially Fernando Tatis Jr. Does anybody feel that a 167 average is indicative of the at-bats he's taken? I sure don't.
No, that's more of a small sample size.
Absolutely.
I think Soto's 198 is a little more a sign of his struggles.
Xander Bogaerts has a 330 batting average right now. That guy's had this is not a shot at him, but he's had a lot of good luck. He's had a lot of bleeders fall in. He's had a lot of ass out sliders that he poked, which is great. You love that. You need those. You have to have them. Nobody else is really getting those right now. And even guys that are hitting at 105 miles an hour, it's not finding holes. So the batting average can be a bit suspect. I like to look at OBP. I like to look at OPS. I like to look at some things like that. And, those numbers are actually fairly decent. Some of them.
I mean, Ha-Seong Kim, the hit on Saturday notwithstanding, which was a 9 hopper in just the right place between the shortstop and the third baseman. He's been struggling badly at the plate lately. His average has dipped below 200, and the OPS is, right around 600, which is not particularly good. Trent Grisham is hitting 200. Now, he has driven the ball a little bit. I'd say his 200 is a little deceiving. Yep. He's got a 434 slugging percentage. Austin Nola is a black hole. 0 for 4 yesterday, 132 average, 170 slugging percentage. He doesn't hit for power. He doesn't get on base. He is doing really nothing right now offensively to help this team.
He absolutely hammered a ball yesterday, right at a guy. I mean, he can't buy one right now. He looks like a man he looks defeated. He looks like I'm not competing up there. He put together, if we're going to really parse it out, he did put together a really nice AB in the first when they were batting around. He put together a really nice AB. It ended in a strikeout, but it was about a 9-pitch at bat from Nola. Did get to a couple of fastballs up, just wasn't able to hit them fair. Ended up with a K. He's had a couple of those grindy at bats this year, Ben, but for the most part, man, it's a wet newspaper up there, with him right now. And I feel terrible for him. I do. I'm not going to come on here and rip him. I know he wants to hit. I know he's dying to get one to fall in. They're just not.
Didn't come back to haunt the Padres yesterday, but did you agree or disagree with Bob Melvin's challenge before on the first out of the game? Fernando Tatis getting back picked at third base on a check swing by Manny Machado. I thought the replay, he was fairly
safe.
Clearly safe.
I thought he was safe. So
I guess they just didn't quite have the angle to determine whether or not that first part of the tag touched him on the shoulder as it went by. I mean, if you had no prior call, no prior knowledge, I think any reasonable person would have said he was safe because the call was out on the field. Sometimes that definitive overturn can be difficult to, they cost them their challenge for the entire game. It never really,
I really hate
came up.
The rule that the call on the field has to matter.
I wouldn't, and given how quick games are going now,
football, I hate it in any sport. Like, it's either the video shows what happened. He's either safe or he's out. The call on the field should not matter.
It should not matter. Jesse's been talking about that for as long as I've been listening to him broadcast, AJ Cassabell as well, all the guys we talked to. Yeah, I mean, it makes too much sense. So that's why baseball won't change it.
Given how speedy games have been with the new rules, and they are still working. I mean, we're still looking at 2-hour, 30-minute baseball games for the most part. I wouldn't mind teams getting a second challenge so they don't feel like they can't ever challenge something early in the game without risking. Who knows? Because in the 7th inning, the umpire may make a horrible call on a bases loaded ball that's foul down the line, and we won't be able to challenge it.
How many challenges do you get in the NFL?
You get 2.
You get 2.
And if you
one
get them
per
both
half.
right, you get a third.
A
You can
third,
use them
okay.
whenever you want.
Use them whenever you want.
If you get it wrong, it costs you a timeout. So you have to have at least one timeout remaining. I mean, if you want to cost a mound visit, if you get them wrong, I guess you could do that. Those rarely come into play at the end of the game. But I would be in favor of at least considering giving teams a second challenge. Why not have an opportunity to have a more accurate baseball game, as long as it's not going to take us 3 hours and 20 minutes to play? And they certainly aren't right now.
And I feel like this season, correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like this season we've lost a lot of challenges. But I feel like I've only seen
they're not bad challenges.
There's only been one I saw where I'm like, what are we
Yeah,
doing?
there was one.
Yeah,
I can't remember
I
specifically.
can't either.
What
But
are
I
we doing
went,
here?
why are we doing this?
Now, late in the game, you throw one out there because you're going to use it or lose it.
Can't take it with you.
Yeah.
But I didn't mind it. It's dicey to do it that early, obviously, and you lose yours, and you just cross your fingers that you can win that game. And luckily, they did not come back to haunt them. But I didn't really have a problem with it again because I thought that they saw what we all saw when they slowed it down. So I thought they got that one. I thought they got that one completely wrong.
And then finally, from yesterday, the one thing that you can really undo any potentially great baseball season is injuries to the pitching staff. And it looks, knock on wood, like Yu Darvish's injury is about if you're going to have a pitcher get injured, that's the way place and way to do it. Comes out with what they're calling a hamstring cramp.
Yep.
Probably was facing his last batter of the game anyway. Yeah. Brent Honeywell comes in and gets the inning over and gets the Diamondbacks back out into the field, and they take Yu Darvish off, and afterwards Bob Melvin saying that it looks like no big deal, just a cramp, and he should be ready to make his next start coming up this weekend in Mexico City.
Yeah,
against the Giants.
No doubt. I was a little, obviously you see Yu Darvish grabbing at the back of his leg, and you're like, oh God, this could be bad for this team. I mean, luckily we have 7 starters on this team, but none of the quality and caliber of Yu Darvish. So it would be a big loss. I'm glad he's going to be okay.
Honeywell did give up back-to-back home runs in the 7th inning as the Diamondbacks kind of chipped their way back into it. But Josh Hader with another 1-2-3 9th inning. He's throwing the ball well right now. 8th save of the year as the Padres win 7-5 and take 3 out of 4 from the Arizona Diamondbacks over the weekend, taking the lead in the season series 4-2, which, with only 2 more series, remember, against the Diamondbacks the rest of the year. This is a more balanced schedule. So they're halfway through their essentially games against the Diamondbacks. So got a nice little lead now in that series.
Yeah, I mean, again, the more of these you can lock up, I think the better it's going to be. You want to just continue to go on the road and win series. That's very Captain Obvious, but I feel like it needs to be said sometimes.
All right, we'll come back. We can talk a little bit about Saturday's win and Tatis's first home run. We'll also play Take on Woods, chance to qualify for a trip to Vegas with our musical trivia contest next on 97.3 The Fan.
Fielding deep. Gurriel is back. He is at the wall. He will leap, and it's gonna go! A home run! Fernando Tatis Jr., his first of the year. And the Padres on the board in the first inning. Stutter step at third base with an exclamation point. 1-0 San Diego.
Okay, it wasn't his most majestic home run.
It scraped the top of that wall, dude, but I don't care.
Exit velocity.
Wasn't exactly a no doubter.
Exit velocity under 90 miles an hour, which you rarely see on a big league home run. But he's a strong young lad and had just enough to get number 1 of the year on Saturday night. Welcome back. Hour number 2, Ben and Woods on a Monday morning here on the home of the Padres, 97.3 The Fan. And I just talked about yesterday's 7-5 win, another 2-run win for the Padres on Saturday night as well in a back and forth game. A nice little button heads with the Arizona Diamondbacks here this weekend, Woods.
Yeah, I unfortunately had to miss most of this game. Caught up on it when I got home. I was working a Seals victory out at Pechanga Arena, San Diego, but I've got the alerts on my phone, and I think my in-game producer, my boy Mike Grace, was getting a little perturbed at me because I kept looking down at the phone because the lead kept changing and things kept happening. And I was like, I would need to do a read for a sponsor, and he's like, hey, you got to read. I'm like, yeah, I know. I'm totally ready. I'm here. I'm ready. And we were winning by so many goals. I didn't feel like we're not going to miss much here. So I was watching on my phone a little bit, but man, got home just in time to rewind it a little bit and see what, I don't know, is perhaps one of the greatest plays in an infield I think I've ever seen in my entire life. I've seen some really good plays. We are very fortunate here to have had some of the plays we saw when Fernando Tatis Jr. was our shortstop. Some of the plays that you go, that doesn't make any sense. The plays that Manny Machado makes 7 to 10 times a week. That play, though, Ben, with Ha-Seong Kim cutting in front of Xander Bogaerts, Bogaerts' head turned away, short hop pick, throw, the incredible stretch by the, who knew, incredibly flexible Jake Cronenworth to get on a short hop, I do believe. A staggering play.
Jake Cronenworth, in my mind, is already saved about a half a dozen throwing errors.
No question.
That, everyone in recent years when Tatis had, racked up a lot of errors at shortstop, say, defensively looks like a liability. You do have to consider what is on the other end of some of those throws. And, I think Xander Bogaerts would have a couple of more errors. Manny would have even a couple of more errors, if not for the shockingly good play at first base by Jake Cronenworth.
I know his OPS is like 15 times higher when he plays second. And again, it's smaller. He's had a couple of big games while he's been playing second. But, man, defensively, and he had a nice day yesterday, and he's helped out a lot. The bat's coming alive a little bit for Crony. Holy cow, you guys. Some of his plays this year have been Gold Glove worthy, and he'll get overlooked. They're going to give it to the big lumbering Paul Goldschmidt because Paul Goldschmidt does have to pick a lot of Arenado throws out of the dirt. Manny's actually been the strongest. He's got the strongest arm on the team. Xander makes me a little bit nervous when he rears back. It's usually kind of low. Ha-Seong Kim's been really good flashing leather, but Jake, man, on hard ground balls to his left, to his right, that play in particular, this stupid. It was one of the dumbest plays I've ever seen.
I know that when Eric Hosmer was here, his teammates always had his back. They liked Eric Hosmer, but I think that
he must have bought really good gifts.
He must have.
Like they come into the.
I can tell a difference even on the throws right now. The Padres infielders seem very comfortable throwing that one hopper over to Jake Cronenworth, the one that you can't throw over a guy's head. When you throw it over a guy's head, you have no chance of getting out. It's an error. It goes into the stands. You one hop it or even two hop it, you always give the first baseman a chance to make a great play. But you're risking an error when you do that. And I feel like they trust Jake already. Hey, we can make a low throw. Even if we give him a tough short hop, he's going to pick it. Even if it's a little bit off the bag, he's going to stretch and grab it. He has been a revelation so far. I know he's played first base before. This is a little bit different, though, when he's manning it essentially full-time and he had the offseason and spring training to prepare. He has come and looked like a top defensive first baseman, and it's been one of the great things for this first 24 games of the season.
It's been such a nice addition and an idea to move him over there. He's been fantastic. Just in that play, though. I mean, I've watched it 1,000 times. There's no way. I didn't really understand what Ha-Seong Kim was doing there, but Xander Bogaerts kind of saved everybody's ass on that play, and the pick that he made was staggering. It is no business making that play, and then of course completing the throw, the stretch, the pick, all of it. It was just beautiful. One of the best plays I've ever seen.
If you want to try to get in for Take on Woods, be our contestant in our musical trivia challenge, qualify for a getaway to Las Vegas, you can call now, 833-288-0973. We'll play here in about 3 or 4 minutes, but always good to dial early, 833-288-0973. Saturday night was also the season debut for Joe Musgrove, and the final line of 5 innings, 7 hits, 3 earned runs, 6 strikeouts is kind of pedestrian for Joe, but I thought it was an admirable season debut. Had the one really mistake, the 2-out, rally with Christian Walker hitting the go-ahead home run in the 3rd inning. Outside of that, Joe was very solid in making his debut, and the Padres rewarded him. You always talk about it. It rarely actually happens where a pitcher exits the game trailing, but the offense rallies in the next half inning to give him the lead and give him the victory. And the Padres did just that with their 2-run single by Ha-Seong Kim in the top of the 6th, making a winner of Joe Musgrove. Just makes that line feel a little bit better. 5 innings, 3 earned runs, and a loss. Just not as good as 5 innings, 3 earned runs, and a win.
Well, a couple things to note about his start. No walks. That is always great. Our pitching staff, I don't know where we rank in walks allowed. I feel like we walk way too many. One is too many, but I feel like we walk an inordinate amount.
Do you?
I do.
I'm going to look it up because I didn't think that was true.
I feel that way.
I think they're probably in the middle of the pack.
And it could be recency bias, Benny, but no walks, 6 Ks, very, very nice. He had 2 pitch clock violations. So that's something that, he'll be able to clean up. We all know he'll be able to build off of that. But yeah, very, very nice.
You're more right. 6th most walks in baseball, 90 so far.
Putting way too many guys on.
Yeah, through the first 24 games of the season.
And out of those 90, I think 88 of them have stolen successfully. I could be pulling that out of my rear end. I don't know. I was just guessing. But no, I feel like we're walking too many guys, and the fact that he came in and throws. If you get beat, man, if they beat guys are gonna beat you. They're really good hitters. They get paid a lot of money. Like Tony Gwynn Jr. was saying on Friday when he was on the show. Man, you got to remember, the guy on the mound gets paid very handsomely to get your ass out. And conversely, the guys up at the plate, they get paid well too. And if I get beat in the zone, I'm fine. Fine, it sucks. I'll do better next time. But if I'm walking 4, 5, 6 guys, there's just no way I can ever expect to be successful. I just can't. So I love that he limited the walks to 0 in his first start bout. And again, not his sharpest outing, but what does Joe Musgrove do? He guts it. He guts through it. So really, really well done by him. Great to see the guys get him a lead and another big, big win for them.
Yeah, picked up nicely by 4 shutout innings from the bullpen. Really nice performance on Saturday night.
Massive hit for Ha-Seong Kim, who needed it desperately.
Yeah,
desperately.
Just see one go through was probably good. And the Padres get that 5-3 win
Juan
on
Soto
Saturday
responsible
night.
for scoring 2 runs, driving in a run. These are all things. Fernando Tatis responsible for an RBI, scoring 2 runs. He walked as well. This is starting. I am cautious, obviously, but it feels like it's starting to come together a little bit. And again, I don't think we can discount how nice that was to win 3 or 4 from that really good team that's playing well.
All right, good feelings on a Monday morning. Why don't we table the Padres for a second? We'll come back to it. Right now, though, it's time to play Take on Woods. All right, off Woods goes into his soundproof isolation, and we welcome Joe onto the show to be our contestant this morning on Take on Woods. Hello, Joe.
Good morning.
Good morning. All right, 60 seconds, 5 questions. You go first. Woods comes back with the same 5 questions. You beat or tie him, we will put you into the grand prize drawing for this month's getaway to Vegas. Trip for 2 to the Westgate Las Vegas Resort and Casino, 2 nights. And tickets to Barry Manilow, who's breaking Elvis's record for most shows at the property. 14th year at the International Showroom with Copacabana, Mandy, and more. Get your tickets now to see Barry Manilow at the Westgate Las Vegas Resort and Casino. You get to pick our category, give you a little advantage here. We still have Do the Do sitting there. Stand and Deliver, 5 songs with stand in the title. And our new category is called Smoke Show, musical questions and answers revolving around the word smoke. So do the do, stand and deliver, or smoke show. Joe, what would you like to play?
Well, Stand and Deliver.
Stand and Deliver. All right, 5 song titles. They all have the word stand somewhere in the title. If you don't know an answer, say pass. We can come back to it if there's still time left on the clock. We'll start with our 2-second song. Paulie will give you a short clip. You need to give me the title and the artist to score that point. We will go on from there. I'll let Paulie set that one up. You good to go on that one? All right, 60 seconds on the clock, Joe. The category Stand and Deliver. Your time begins when Paul plays the music. Good luck. Let's take on Woods.
Young teacher, the subject.
Don't Stand So Close to Me, The Police.
Correct. There have been more than 400 recorded versions of which 1961 Ben E. King classic?
Stand By Me.
Correct. Which Beatles song starts, well, she was just 17. You know what I mean.
I Saw Her Standing There.
Correct. Which 1968 country hit is considered the signature song for Tammy Wynette?
Stand By Your Man.
Correct. Pledging Love in a Time of Darkness is the theme of which 1994 hit by the Pretenders?
I'll Stand By You.
Very good.
Whoa.
Very solid
Hey.
performance. A 5 for 5. Joe, you're in. Nothing Woods can do about that. You're qualifying for the trip to Las Vegas. The only question is whether it's an outright win and you get a daily
through
ditty
that.
selection. So stay on the line. Start thinking of a ditty. We'll see if Woods can match that. Here he comes back into the studio. He doesn't get the category, so makes it harder for him. Joe's score is locked in. Reset our questions and our 2-second song. 60 seconds on the clock. Woods, your time begins when Paul plays the music. Good luck. Let's take on Joe.
Young teacher,
That is
the subject.
it's police, and it's Don't Stand So Close to Me.
Correct. There have been more than 400 recorded versions of which 1961 Ben E. King classic?
Stand By Me.
Correct. Which Beatles song starts, well, she was just 17. You know what I mean.
Save Ben saying that. She was just 17. I'll pass. Come back to it.
Which 1968 country hit is considered the signature song for Tammy Wynette?
Stand By Your Man.
Correct. Pledging Love in a Time of Darkness is the theme of which 1994 hit by the Pretenders?
I'll Stand By You.
Correct. Which Beatles song begins, well, she was just 17. You know what I mean.
Oh, Saw Her Standing There.
Ah, very good. And we've got a 5-5 tie today.
Mamacita.
All right, Joe, that's a qualifying, but
Keep that
Woods,
ditty.
you get to keep the ditty for tomorrow.
Yeah.
And a good start to the week on the
very
category Stand and Deliver. Stand in all those titles. You got that. I like that. Good start to the week
Very
on
nice.
Take on Woods.
Nice question.
All right, how are we going to start the week on Don't Do This, which is coming up next? I don't think this will ever happen again. I'm actually going to make a hole-in-one in golf. My Don't Do This today.
He's so upset, you guys. If you
I'm
could
a
only
little-
see how upset he
I'm
was.
a little
in here.
peeved by this.
Yeah. We have some really good do this as well to get to today, but should be an interesting one indeed.
All right, we will get to that coming up next with Ben Woods. We'll check traffic and then be right back with more on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
How many times do I have to tell you?
I'm sorry, I fudged up, guys.
You idiot. You moron. Dumbass.
The apple sometimes does fall from the tree.
Don't do this
Do not tweet that.
with Ben and Woods
I like a Nickelback song or two.
on 97.3 The Fan.
All right, we still have Jake Mintz from Cespedes Family Barbecue coming up next hour to talk more baseball. Right now, though, it is time for Don't Do This. And Woodsy, I will let you get us started today.
I will take us in the wild and wonderful world of the NBA. Paulie brought this to my attention this morning. I had not seen this yet, but the Boston Celtics did beat the Atlanta Hawks. Sorry, Adam. 129-121 on Sunday. They've got a 3-1 lead in the first round series. But after the game, there was a no-no by Hawks guard DeJounte Murray. He was walking out. They were done. Game was over, and he walked past the referee. Referee's name's a little bit tougher to pronounce. Gediminas Petratis.
I don't know.
I nailed it. He bumped him on the way out. And it wasn't like oh, my bad. Excuse me. He walked up to him.
He was he was approaching him,
chirping, and then gave him kind of the old shoulder shiver. And the ref was pretty stunned. He just stopped and looked, and Murray kept walking and kind of turned around and jawed after him. Now he's probably going to earn himself.
The video going around was not on the broadcast. It was from a fan in the crowd was filming the floor. And
cameras everywhere.
Happened to catch that.
Cameras.
And I got to imagine
everywhere.
the NBA offices have now seen that video.
Yeah, they absolutely have, and it says just got a report not 20 minutes ago, Paulie. The NBA is investigating Hawks guard DeJounte Murray's actions toward officials at the end of Game 4. A league source told ESPN. I had a good game, man. He had 23 points, 9 rebounds, 6 assists, and he's a really good player for them. They will miss him terribly, and especially now that they're going to be on the brink of an elimination game with the Boston Celtics. But yeah, that's one of those dumb ones that you can't do. That can't happen again.
Not in the postseason.
Not in the postseason. Not anytime. But
it looks like Dylan Brooks is going to avoid a suspension. He was actually ejected Game 3 of the Grizzlies-Lakers series for his below the belt punch of LeBron James that knocked him over.
Hit him right in the jewels.
Yeah. Now, of course, Dylan Brooks had been talking after Game 2, and we talked about it last week. Did you see LeBron and Dylan Brooks have their conversation beforehand?
Yes.
I mean, everyone kind of wondering exactly what it was that LeBron said. LeBron has risen above in every news conference, every moment. He's basically said, I don't need to respond to this guy.
They've been begging him.
He said the other day, he goes, I'm just here to play basketball. I'm not here for this bull ass. And then just walked away. It was so great.
Dylan Brooks asked what LeBron said to him, he told me his birthday. He's not telling us the truth either, but it looked like LeBron at least had a couple of words for him.
It looked like he dressed him down a little bit. Yeah. Which is, that's fine. That's what he's an elder statesman in the league.
Probably the old, have some respect for the game, have some respect for people who have been around. You're going to be hopefully here for a while. That, I would think LeBron would have a few words, having as much experience as he has had and dealt with as many good and bad things as he's had in his career. I'd be listening to LeBron if I was someone like Dylan
As
Brooks.
would I. How? What's that series at now?
2-1 Lakers with Game 4 tonight.
Okay. All right.
At Crypto.com Arena. All right. So this is my don't do this. And as someone who has only made one hole-in-one in my life, happened a little over a year ago, you'd think that would be a good thing. But I was actually disappointed to see on the Live Tour this week, and they were playing in Adelaide, Australia. And it was actually probably their most successful tournament. They had fans out there. No one watches it here because of the time difference. I mean, Australia, they're playing really late night, early morning. And I didn't see one shot except for video of Brooks Koepka's brother, Chase Koepka, who was on the tour questionably, pretty much to get his brother on the tour. They promised Chase a spot as well. He made a hole-in-one on what they basically created just like that party hole at the WM Open in Phoenix, try to create some stands. Now, there's about a quarter as many people as there are on that hole, but when Chase knocked in the hole-in-one, he was doused with showers of beer, everyone throwing their cups in the air. It felt like a complete ripoff. I mean, Liv's whole thing is that they wanted to do something different from the PGA Tour, create their own vibe, create their own spectacle, and yet their biggest moment so far in their entire tour is just a knockoff of something that the PGA Tour has already been doing for years.
Yeah,
I mean,
happens.
And they call it the water. They even had a name for it, the watering hole. They were so hoping someone would do that.
Oh, he did. He did. He
And he
knocked
did.
it in.
I don't even know how long the hole was. It looked like it was about a 90-yard shot. Like we're going to make this as easy to make a hole in one as possible to try to create a viral moment
he hates
on the golf course.
him some Live Golf. You hate any success that Live gets.
My high school classmate, Pat Perez, actually finished third, had his best tournament, 15 under par. Let's see, who won that tournament anyway? See, I don't even know who wins. That's the problem for Live Golf.
It is. But
Taylor Gooch won the tournament.
Taylor what?
Gooch.
Thank you. I've lost my train of thought. Go figure. That's something else.
Yeah.
So your beef is
you
copied because the visual of it is pretty awesome. When he hit it, all the stuff raining down. But we have seen that visual.
Right,
We see it in
exactly.
Phoenix. I guess I see
don't sell yourself as something new and different, an alternative to the PGA
and then
Tour,
steal the same.
and then just steal what they've been doing forever.
I
and
guess that's fair.
Make that your biggest moment.
It's a bit nitpicky. A bit.
A
touch.
bit.
Pretty cool moment on Do This for us over the weekend.
DD Mega Doo-Doo.
One thing I do enjoy is when somebody is a man or a woman of their word. And wanted to shout out former Padres pitcher and now turning into quite a find for the Philadelphia Phillies, Matt Strom, who's a friend of the program. We beat him. Paulie and I beat he and his brother.
Kicked his ass.
Kicked their ass, actually. We kicked their ass the front and we let them back in on the back, but we still won. And the bet was that if you lose, Matty, you have to wear a Ben and Wood shirt in Philly. Like, you have to wear it. He's like, all right, deal. So we beat him, and we sent him his shirt, and he wore it, posted a picture there at Citizens Bank Park on Friday. I had no idea he was doing it. It popped up in my feed. I go, oh! I'm like, you SOB.
I was impressed. Our merch show. I mean, we had pretty much a Phillies colored Ben and Wood shirt for him.
Yeah,
that was pretty nice.
You can get, and so he's got it on, double thumbs up, and he said, I'm coming for you guys next year. I said, well, we welcome all comers, Matty Strom, but just a cool moment for us, our show, very fun for him. The last outing he pitched, Ben went out there, he gave up 2 runs early and then ended up striking out 11. They're using him as a starter now, and he's done quite well for them. So obviously pulling hard for Matty Strom, except when he plays us, but good fun do this for us to see on
What
Friday.
if I stepped in as a ringer, perhaps, in the next match? Would that be fair?
That wouldn't be fun.
Would that be unfair a little bit?
Unfair. I mean,
That's all right. I played terribly this weekend.
If Paul and I can beat them, does that give you any idea? You've played with Paul and I
get
enough
it,
to
yes.
know that if Paul and I can beat them, we don't need
What
you.
were you going to have to do
What
had
were
you
we?
lost to
Wear
Matt
a
Strom?
Philly shirt.
Oh, wear a Philly shirt. Yeah.
To like a Padres game?
To like wear a Philly shirt and represent Philly, which would have been tough for us. But that is don't and do this.
That was Don't Do This with Ben and Woods on 97.3 The Fan.
Can I do a quick extra do this since we have time?
Yeah.
DD Mega Doo-Doo.
The double mega do. I got to shout out my little brother, Brent Woods. That dude never had done it before, was not into any of this. I don't know what inspired him to run an Ironman. And he did it. He finished it.
Wow.
He finished his very first Ironman challenge
Ironman.
in Austin. Yeah. Maybe you start with a marathon. Maybe you start with a long swim. I don't know.
Nice long bike ride.
Get yourself a nice long bike ride.
What's
race.
the toughest part of the 3?
The
The
swim.
marathon.
Legs.
The marathon.
The swim.
The swim.
He
So
said it was the marathon.
it's a 2.4-mile swim, which doesn't sound like a lot. It's insane.
so far.
So
the
he
bike ride's like 112 miles or
So-
something like that.
in typical,
I mean, that's a drive to Los Angeles, but you're biking,
yeah,
and then you run a marathon.
yeah. In typical Woods fashion, the marathon, the Ironman is on Saturday morning. Okay, he goes to see his buddy that he's doing it with. They go out on Thursday night and get obliterated. They get hammered drunk. They hadn't seen each other in a while. I'm like, idiot. He goes, so then we got up to train on Friday, the day before, go get a swim in. He goes, I don't know what it was, but I was having panic attacks in the water. I couldn't keep my face in the water. I was nervous. I'd never done an open water swim before. I'd only been doing it in pools. He goes, I panicked and I thought, I'm not going to be able to do this tomorrow. Got through it, got his head right, Got through the swim, no problem. Got through the bike, no problem. Said he ended up walking about 50% of the marathon. He said by far the running was the worst
What's
part
the
about
order
it.
again?
It's
Swim, bike, run.
Swim, bike, run.
Yeah.
And so that dude finished it. I'm so proud of him. He finished it in so he basically exercised for 15 hours, 27 minutes, and 38 seconds. So congratulations to my brother Brent Woods.
I mean, anything under like 24 hours, like finishing before midnight or whatever it is.
Yeah,
unbelievable.
He finished in his age group, middle of the pack-ish. So I was so proud of him to do that, man. I wanted to give him a shout out today because I mean, that's just, I can't even imagine doing it. They have a really cool app. So I was tracking him all day and you can see when he finishes stuff. But man, just a way to just go right for the stars. Like, again, start with a marathon or something. But no, he went for the Ironman and now he can say he's done it. And there will be only one of us to complete one. That I promise you.
Very cool. I'm
Very
sure
cool.
there's a few people out there who are wondering why we didn't include David Cohn and his science experiment on Sunday Night Baseball on Don't Do This. That's because we're going to actually break it down a little bit coming up next. We can talk, I don't know that we want to talk much about Friday night's Padres game. We usually go back all the way through the weekend.
We should
probably touch on it a little bit as well. So we'll get to both of those things here at the bottom of the hour. Coming up next with Bennett Woods on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. The 2023 NFL Draft is here. 97.3 The Fan will be live and local for round one this Thursday. You can listen live no matter where you are with the Odyssey app. Chris Ello, John Quintera, Braden Soprenik going to be breaking down our coverage. You can tune in to 97.3 The Fan this Thursday at 5 p.m. or download the Odyssey app and follow on 97.3 The Fan to listen on the go. Does that mean I need to start getting my mock the draft ready for Thursday morning? It's been a while.
I have a couple questions.
I haven't really even looked much into who the names are at the top of the board yet this year.
I have a couple questions.
Yeah.
So read the liner again.
The whole thing?
Or give me who's on the show.
Join Chris Ello, John Quintera, and Braden Soprenik as they break it all down.
When I saw that liner last night, I thought to myself, is he mad at me, Ben?
Because you didn't get invited to be part of our draft coverage?
If
you were hoping
like
to be
I was
the
not.
lead on Thursday night?
No, not
is that what?
No, are you mad?
Well, am I mad at you?
I feel like my presence has ruined your sporting career. You see what I'm saying, Paulie?
I'm with you now.
You see what I'm saying? Okay, answer me this question.
Ben is guilty by association.
Correct. So 6 years ago, would you be on this panel?
Oh, you kidding me?
I mean, I've never done any draft coverage because I'm always on television. Although we do have the draft on Channel 10 as well on Thursday night. We got it live on ABC.
Do you have to work
as well? We'll be on afterwards. We got special edition of the news coming on right afterwards. But we actually don't have an NFL team here in San Diego, so that minimizes my actual. Now, had this been, when the Chargers were still here, I did.
We would have done
tons of draft coverage.
Of course.
I mean, getting into the nitty gritty of who their picks could be, and it was a big thing.
We are in the trust tree right now. When you saw the liner come through that you have to read and your name's not in it, were you disappointed?
No, I was relieved actually, but I wasn't asked to do any extra work.
I just wanted to make sure.
In fact, I'm actually kind of nervous about having to put my mock the draft together. That it just hit us. I mean, we've been baseball started the Padres season. It's been so busy. The draft just kind of snuck up on me this year.
Ben, if you haven't heard Ben mocks the draft, it's one of my favorite things I've ever heard, and it's one of the worst things you'll ever hear. And by worst, I mean the best. If that makes any sense at all, it is so good. Ben mocks the draft is
one of my favorite parts of the year.
Do you have any that we could tease ahead? I think Paulie does. But yeah, man, I am telling you, it is. I don't know. We started doing this back at the old station, right?
Yeah. I think it's
we've done it every year.
The fourth or fifth year that we'll be mocking the draft.
It's so good.
Let's see.
With the 7th pick in the NFL draft, the Detroit Lions select
Justin Fields, quarterback from Ohio State. He becomes the first Fields in Detroit since they paved them all over 50 years ago.
It's so good. It's so good. It's so awful
stupid.
and stupid and brilliant. It's like next level brilliance. It's like if Andy Kaufman had a radio show.
So with the 9th pick in the NFL draft, the Denver Broncos select
Paris Ford, safety from the University of Pittsburgh. Scouts expect him to be a successful safety in the league for decades to come. Quote, "We'll always have Paris," said Broncos president of football operations, John Elway.
We'll always have Paris. It's so good. 99% of these guys never go to those teams.
No,
the whole thing.
I mean, I'm really looking more for the names that I can jam into a pun than being accurate.
You may hear a guy go that is like a 4th rounder.
Yeah.
He may be the 2nd overall pick.
If he's got a great name that I can pun, his stock just shoots up
right to
in
the
Ben's
so
mock the
far
draft.
removed from
Much-
the
oh,
NFL
yeah.
draft. I could
Much-
name one.
CJ
Top 10.
Stroud is going to go.
Stetson Bennett.
Michael Mayer from Notre Dame will be drafted in the top 10, top 15, I do believe. Bryce Young, obviously from Alabama. So, I mean, I don't know why they didn't call me. There's three
I think
there.
you got more. I think you got more knowledge than I do right now. I really, this has snuck up on me. I was like stunned yesterday. Go, wait, is this week?
It's a bit.
Is the NFL draft?
It's a bit back of mind for us, I will admit, and I think it's my fault, but that's okay.
All right. So, is Max Scherzer guilty, or is he being railroaded by Major League Baseball? David Cohn performed a science experiment.
This was unreal, you guys.
Last night on Sunday Night Baseball. We'll get to that coming up after a check of traffic here on 97.3 The Fan.
From the Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad Traffic Center, part of the Premier Auto family, here's Kelly Danick.
Traffic is sponsored by California Coast Credit Union. Got a few things going on here on the coastline. Southbound 5 before Mission Avenue. There is a stalled van in the second lane from the left. Collision up ahead past Tamarack. It's over the right shoulder. Another stall reported, South 5. This one is before Garnett. An SUV in the second lane from the left. Also getting reports of somebody starting a fire near the Friars Road off-ramp, northbound side of 15. That's over to the right shoulder. With MasterCard Local, CalCoast Credit Union members can earn 5% cash back on purchases made with CalCoast MasterCard credit and debit cards every time they shop at participating businesses. Learn more at calcoastcu.org/shop-local. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben & Wood, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
Sometimes the message can be right, but the messenger can be wrong. And to me, that's a little bit of what happened last night on ESPN's Sunday Night Baseball. Who was the Mets and Giants?
Yep.
So the Mets were playing. That makes it a relevant story.
Sure.
Obviously, the suspension to Max Scherzer after he was caught with too much sticky substances on his hands last week and was thrown out of the game, and it comes with the automatic 10-game suspension. Now, Max's argument, we talked about it a lot last week, and actually I thought generally kind of agreed with the logic behind it, that if you're using the rosin bag and it gets sticky and then you try to clean it off with alcohol, you're actually cleaning out the moisture, which leaves more stickiness on your fingers,
which go again, like it goes against kind of, I think, what Paulie and I had heard, that they use the alcohol to, we know it cleans it off, but is the alcohol now used? Let's say you're using something discolored, right? You can clean that off of your fingers, and then the alcohol actually makes it stickier the more the game goes on. If you can continue to use alcohol on your fingers, maybe that's what they were talking about, Paulie. The alcohol not only makes your hand look clean and feel clean, but it actually makes your hand stickier. So kind of a win-win if you're a pitcher trying to
like rinsing it off with, like, if you took a 2-liter of Coca-Cola and you might rinse something off your hand, but eventually your hand's going to be stickier.
Yeah, if you have muddy hands and you take a 2-liter Coca-Cola and wash your hands with
the mud's going to go away.
The mud's gone, but your hands are still going to be sticky. So it does kind of make sense in that regard. I saw both ways on this. Let's play some of the audio first. Let's say, in case you missed it last night, it was a trip.
Using alcohol to clean this up, but it's making your hand stickier at the same time, is it not?
It is. It's getting rid of the discoloration and some of the rosin on the top layer, but
activating the rosin,
activating what's left, and can be really sticky with initially when you first wash your hand with alcohol. Initially, it can really activate what the remaining rosin is on your fingertips, especially if you go right back and apply more rosin right on top of the alcohol.
So it feels like he was attempting to push the envelope as far as it can be pushed by using all legal substances according to baseball.
Well, we did a little experiment before the game, and I had the rosin bag right there. That's the rock rosin. You go on it. I had not too much sweat to work with, but even with just the rock rosin, it got sticky. And then I went to the alcohol to show you, okay, let me clean it off. I had a little discoloration from the rosin. That's right after the alcohol, and after the alcohol sort of activates
his fingers together.
What's left of the rosin?
Absolutely. And I went back to the rosin bag after the alcohol as well, and that's what I got right there.
So what he shows is taking his fingers to the top of the baseball, and the baseball actually sticks to his fingers and does not fall, even though he's got nothing supporting the baseball. It's sticky enough that, like glue, like a little rubber cement, the ball simply sticks to his fingers. Now that's pretty sticky. I mean, baseballs aren't heavy, but they're heavy enough that, a little bit of rosin shouldn't make it stick to your fingers and defy gravity. as David Cohn was demonstrating last night.
Yeah, very interesting. And I saw it split. I saw people that were like, is this just bending over backwards to defend Max Scherzer? I'm not sure. But then a guy I really like and follow on Twitter, James Kelly, says the crazy thing is for every David Cohn who saw the game changing and kept up with new information and incorporated it into their experience like a normal person would, there's like 30 John Smoltzes. And that's true. I mean, there's no better way to learn about it than to actually do it. Eugene Friedman, who's a man I greatly respect his baseball opinions and takes, he said, although David Cohn is approved by MLB to be one of the voices of the booth, he's also a former leader of the MLBPA. Unlike most of the people on national broadcast, he doesn't just toe the company line. Manfred took revenge against Ken Rosenthal. He might do it again. So did David Cohn put his job in jeopardy by doing this little experiment last night? Because, again, Major League Baseball banged Max Scherzer for 10 games. So I do think that they forgot a pretty important part of it, that when the rosin was in his glove. That is a no-no. The only rosin you can go to is the rosin that's on the mound. Well, there's rosin in the dugout. There's rosin in his glove. That's something I think that they forgot about.
Well, and my question is, David Cohn, of course, is not just a former Met. He's on, when he's not doing ESPN, he's doing Mets broadcasts as well. So, he's very tight with everybody. Would he have gone to those lengths had this been a Minnesota Twin or a Miami Marlin or a San Diego Padre who had been suspended, whose character, whose integrity had been called into question? I don't really have a problem with him doing it. I just, like I said, the messenger, it's not the message. Maybe the messenger was wrong in this situation. Ultimately, I don't know. If a guy is only using stuff that's approved, probably a 10-game suspension seems really harsh when you didn't use anything wrong. At the same time, what Major League Baseball is really trying to enforce is they want a limit to the level of stickiness on your hands. And it shouldn't matter. If you want to use spider tack, but you only use the tiniest bit and your hands aren't that sticky, that should be what really matters. Not what substance is on your hand, but how sticky your hand is. And clearly Max Scherzer's hand was very, very sticky.
As were his gloves.
Now, he may have done it without any illegal substances, but that, I think, needs to be taken into consideration, because you don't care necessarily what it's coming from. You care how sticky it is. And Max Scherzer simply got too sticky. Now, can you make pitchers responsible for their, not what they use, but for the stickiness level on your hands, and just say, you can use whatever you want, but if we determine your hands are overly sticky, you're going to get tossed and you're going to get suspended.
Yeah.
So you got to figure out how it works. It just like with steroids, with performance enhancing drugs, it's a zero tolerance policy. It doesn't matter if you accidentally ingested something, you didn't read a label right, you suffer the consequences. And if your hands are too sticky, doesn't matter if you just had, honey on toast and that's why it's sticky. You're responsible for making sure that your hands aren't overly sticky and aren't going to, be that noticeable by the umpires. Because was it Jim Joyce? Was that the umpire?
No.
Phil
Cuzzi.
That's right. The Phil Cuzzi. I mean, they said unequivocally the stickiest we've ever felt a hand.
Correct.
They're touching guys' hands every single day now, multiple times. And this is by far so sticky.
Yep.
Doesn't really matter how it happened then. You're in violation of the rules.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, my beef really was never with Max Scherzer. I mean, it really never was. My beef was with Brian Kenny. My beef was, and my beef is, hey, let's I guess kind of go out of our way to show that Max Scherzer was quote unquote telling the truth when Joe Musgrove's career and integrity was put into question. Did you guys hear the comments that Joe had on Gwen and Chris's show on Friday? I thought they were really, really brilliant.
I did hear Sammy replay them on the pregame show.
Yeah. And I thought they were really, really brilliant and insightful. And yeah, it's tough. It's a tough thing. And he said, I've never heard from Brian Kenny, never one time to say, hey man, I might've gotten that one wrong. I apologize. So I think it's a weird kind of double standard that we're seeing right now, but
Joe's situation was the
different.
Exact opposite.
Yeah, it was opposite.
Yes, his ears were shiny, and who knows if there was, some,
icy
petroleum
hot,
jelly, something on there that was making them shiny, but his hands weren't sticky.
Correct.
And they felt them. They felt everything.
Yeah.
And if it's not sticky, it's not sticky. That's the That's the purpose of the rule. It's not to catch someone who, is trying to simply get prepared for a game. It's to catch someone who's overly sticky, which is going to have an effect on the spin rate of the ball.
Indeed. That's exactly right. So I thought it was an interesting thing. I wonder if there will be any blowback on David Cohn from the league. And my man made a really good point. When Ken Rosenthal started talking badly about baseball as an employee from baseball, we all know what happened to Ken Rosenthal. He was no longer working for baseball anymore. So we'll see if they want to continue to try to control the message a little bit. But I don't think that science experiment makes baseball look very good.
True.
So
Ben and Woods, go back to Friday night's game. Haven't discussed it yet. Diamondbacks 9-0 win over the Padres. Just a couple of hits. Zach Gallen was very good, and he's been good his last few starts, not just against the Padres, but everybody else. Seth Lugo actually wasn't bad. 6 innings, 2 runs, another solid start for a guy who, for the time being, is going to remain in the starting rotation with Nick Martinez and Ryan Weathers shifting over to the bullpen. Do you have a thought about that? The Lugo gets to stay, whereas Weathers and Martinez are going to come out of the pen?
I mean, we talked about it a little bit on Friday, and I really don't. Nick Martinez is, again, I think he's a victim of his own circumstance because they've seen him do well. Now, he pitched his tail off in his last start. I just feel like it's one of those things where you're like, hey, man, you're really good at this. Can you do that for us for a while? And he's like, sure, no problem, because that's the kind of guy he is. Ryan Weathers is a little bit different. I mean, I'd like to see Ryan Weathers continue to start games because that's where he's been thriving. I'd hate to mess with him and put him in a situation where maybe
came in out of the bullpen, though, this weekend.
Yeah, he
did a nice job.
Did fine. Yep, absolutely. So, again, we're trying to win a World Series here. I think everybody has that goal in mind, so it's not going to bother me right now.
One bad inning is going to make the Padres bullpen ERA look a little uglier than it is. The duo of Luis Garcia and Reese Kinnear gave up 7 runs. That turned a close game into a blowout. Outside of that, though, the Padres bullpen has been really, really outstanding again.
The Tim Hill, Brent Honeywell, toe stubbing yesterday was not great. You don't want to see that. Really happy we added on Ben in that game. It just goes to show you adding on runs is so important. You can never add on too many runs.
Yeah. It's funny, though. I tweeted because a lot of people nodded their head. I remember when the Padres weren't good, you'd actually cheer if they were up by 4 or 5. Hey, I hope the opponent scores a couple of runs so we can see Trevor Hoffman.
Yeah, I don't feel that.
Save.
Those were the days where that's all you had to look forward to.
It's not the case anymore.
Not the case. You wanted to, if you could have yesterday, you wanted to get through that game with Honeywell, Hill, and Garcia, right? You did not want to have to go to Josh Hader.
He
was awesome.
It's less critical because there is a day off today, but yeah, you normally would like to save your back end guys when you've got a 6-run lead in the 7th inning. You don't want to have to see your closer come in a high leverage situation in the ninth.
And again, I mean, the ball flies in Arizona. We know that it's not the easiest place in the world to pitch. No excuses though. Those guys got to make better pitches and they'll be fine. They'll be fine.
All guests on Ben and Woods appear on the Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad fan hotline. Save money the right way with Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad. Visit them today in the Carlsbad Auto Mall. Chevrolet find new roads. Jake from Cespedes Family Barbecue will join us next hour.
Love it.
We'll take some phone calls as well. 833-288-0973. Padres fans, hear from you about the weekend that was on Ben and Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
We're halfway home.
He got you again.
It's Ben and Woods on 97.3 The Fan. 5 seconds before we're about to crack the mics. He looks at me and goes, do you got something here? I said, I did. Now I don't. Now I'm panicked. What is with everyone messing?
I'm
with
not.
me.
It's a simple question.
Just, have I ever let you down? Ever? I'm here every day. I bring the energy.
You do.
I'm ready
You-
to go.
A lot of energy.
God.
I'm just trying to get my mind around maybe what direction that energy is headed.
All you have to do is just lean in and enjoy the ride, my friend. That's all you got to do.
I'm not wired that way.
But you've been wired.
I'm
You've
really
never
not.
done this to me. Only after 5 years. Hey, man, what are you going to talk about in the open?
I know,
Just
but
let me.
you don't realize that
let me live.
I'm sitting here like trying to look into my crystal ball, trying to guess what you might want to be talking about so I can get my head around it. Because I don't react the way you do. You're such a great impromptu, off the cuff speaker. I like to plan a little bit more, which makes it difficult sometimes when I'm just sitting here ready to go off the cuff with whatever direction Woods is going to take us.
It's my favorite part of the show, of just letting to see Ben's reaction half the time is really the best part of the show. It is Ben and Woods, 97.3 The Fan. Thank you very much for being here. Thank you very much for listening on your radio. I know there's a lot of you out there. We really appreciate it. We know that you have choices in the morning, and many of you are choosing to listen to Ben and Woods. That makes us very happy. So greatly appreciate that. Thank you for those of you watching us on the YouTube stream as well. That chat scene in there, Ben, it's really your first day moving around the chat scene. It's pretty nuts.
Well, I've always been a lurker.
Yeah,
I read the chats. I just I couldn't figure out how to comment, and you guys finally explained it to me the right way.
Yes.
So I've been able to chime in a couple of times this morning.
Go to YouTube.
Go to YouTube.
Right.
And then
To comment on the YouTube chat, go to youtube.com.
I thought I had to log into our StreamYard site where
No.
we're actually Paul's producing the show.
No, can't do it there.
But I can't do it there.
Cannot
But I
do
thought
it
that's
there.
where all the comments were coming up. So I thought, I thought the YouTube comments were different than the StreamYard comments somehow.
Guy in here says, you type in the box, Ben. That's it. It's so good.
Essentially, that is true. I found that is all that I needed to do because I'm already logged in. I just needed to type in the box. I didn't have a box to type into. I kept looking at us on the screen going, here are the comments. Here's me. Here's Paul. Here's Woods. There's no box to type into. Everyone else is typing in, and I've got nothing to contribute. Now I found it.
You found your box. So that's good.
A bunch of boomers over here.
So, and I use it as an excuse all the time. Like, how do I do it? What do I do? It drives my wife crazy. What? Oh no, I don't have any idea how to even start that. I have no idea. Sorry. We were laughing the other day. There's a couple of properties that my wife has looked at. We have a lot of visitors. Like my parents come in, a couple times a year. And we've got, just always kind of looking to make some moves if we can. And to have a property where my parents could stay and my in-laws, guests could stay. There's just a ton of people always coming to town. We have no extra room at my house, none. I mean, unless my parents want to sleep on an air mattress, and my dad probably would, that's not going to happen. So she's like, I went to look at this condo. And I said, oh, okay, great. She goes, yeah, was built in like 1979. Nothing has changed in it. There's decor from 1979. And I go, you know what's funny? I have a dozen friends, and I know probably 24 men that would say, babe, buy it. I'll just gut it and remodel. I know them personally that they could say, yeah, just go get it. And then I'll do all the fixer-upper stuff. I'll put in new cabinets, new floors. I go, you should have married one of those guys, because I can't even wrap my head around. I'm going to get my sledgehammer. I'm going to go over. I'm going to demo it. I'm going to knock the walls down.
There's TV hosts that do this thing. Flip That House.
Oh,
Like,
absolutely.
you can just do a whole series on
Absolutely.
it.
But I mean, I know like personal friends that say, yeah, we bought this house. It's fixer upper. I'm doing all the remodel myself. And it just blows my mind. Now, that's not one of those things I say that I say, what? No, I wouldn't even know. You would not want me to even attempt to like learn. Remember when we were kids, I think it was Time Life or Sears would sell those books, their how-to manuals. And you would sit there. My grandfather would sit there. This is how to fix your oven. And he would go to page 96 and he'd look at the wires and the coils, and he'd have that thing pulled out trying to fix it. It's not me, man.
We now have YouTube streams that do that.
100%.
I've actually, it's worked a couple of times. Like I needed to like change the headlamp on my car.
Yeah, and you did it yourself.
And if you went to the dealer, you'd probably end up paying like $200
or like.
But instead, I went to an auto parts store across the street, paid like $13 for a new headlamp, watched a YouTube video. He like showed me how to do it, and I did. It took me like 20 minutes. I had it backwards in the first, but I eventually figured it out and saved myself a lot of money just by watching the YouTube
exactly.
video.
Paulie's you did your oil one time off YouTube, or your buddy walked you through it?
It was replaced my alternator, and
big job,
that
I
was
feel
on
like.
FaceTime with my buddy who's a mechanic. Yeah.
Those are big jobs. But like if Megan said to you, hey, I just inherited this fixer-upper. It's a dump. But can you go in and remodel? No, like you're not going to be able to go in and put in a new sink and put in a new countertop and put in new flooring and I could paint. I mean, if I had to paint walls.
I've hung drywall before.
Yeah, I've never done that.
Could do that.
I've cut stone on a stone cutter. That was
Really?
pretty, that was pretty
Any
badass.
electrical work or plumbing would definitely have to be hired.
I don't like to get shocked. I hate that feeling.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah.
And I'm just not.
I mean,
good at
even
that
like the
stuff.
static shock where you're like in the desert and you walk on carpet and then you reach for the doorknob.
Yeah, I hate it.
Oh, I hate
it
that
too.
feeling.
Well, I mean, look, I do feel like less of a manly man because I do, like I said, good friends of mine. Our buddy John Hoover, you could give that guy a shack and he could turn it into, you'd walk in and go, oh my God, this is unbelievable. But that's just not me. It's not really something I've ever tried to do, and nor I probably never will. Right?
Yeah. I mean, at some point, you're not a fix-it handy person.
Yeah, the fact that you know that, I think, is better. I think that would be better than me at home trying to fix a bunch of stuff and then making it worse.
The second best thing is then being savvy about it and, knowing the right people to hire and not getting taken to the cleaners when you need to hire someone. You're also not that person either, unfortunately.
I leave a lot of things up to my wife to handle.
That's good. I do
then
too.
That way, if she messes it up, I can't, I'm like, oh, you tried. Big deal. So we are Ben and Woods.
That app I've seen a million commercials for. Front Door. It's the one it's got the Starship remix. It's like, we built this we
toilet.
fixed this toilet.
Yeah,
on
they play that a lot.
Yeah. Is that good? I wonder.
I've never used it,
but then you end up having to fix your own toilet.
It's you pay for help from a handyman. Whatever
Set up
the
your
problem
phone,
is
like,
around
to
the
show
house,
them what
and
it is,
you do a video chat with them, and they walk you through how to do basic home repairs. It's a good concept.
It's a really good concept. You basically invented it when you did the FaceTime with your buddy.
Yeah.
So I have that.
They stole my idea.
Stole your idea.
We have one of our toilets upstairs, the one in the boys' bathroom. It flushes, and then like 1 out of every 10 times the chain gets stuck, so you just hear it like running forever. And of course, no one ever does anything about it. So I have to take the lid off and undo the chain, but I don't know how to like fix it so it won't happen anymore.
Right.
I just inevitably have to go and reset the chain and take the tank off and put it back on over and over again. Maybe that's what I need the app for, someone to walk me through that.
I'll be honest. I do wish I was man. I do. I wish I was.
That's not. Yeah, that's a. It's an antiquated.
Is it misogynistic?
Yes, it's an antiquated version of things. That just because you can't fix things doesn't make you less of a father or a husband or a man.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a good father.
It just makes you a bad handy person.
Yeah, I'm not a good handy
who has
person.
to go spend more money on things than
I do feel that my wife looks down her nose at me because I'm inept at things like that.
Well, I mean, you are inept at things like that. So am I. And if she chooses to look down her nose at you, that's probably within her rights.
All right. Well, you asked me if I had something. That's a
we
bold
could,
revelation.
You could spend a lot of time dedicating yourself to becoming a handyman these next 20, 25 years, whatever you've got going still. I mean, is that going to be worth it to you? Is that how you want to spend your time?
That's the thing is I feel like some of my friends that do it, they find great pleasure and enjoyment in it. My brother did that. He just built their own closet. He never couldn't hammer in a nail, and he decided, I want to do this. He's like my dad, very reticent to lay the credit card down. So I think that factors into it. I, however, am not. I am just pay for it. I don't want to deal with it. So I do wish that I had that, but it's not something I'm willing to work hard to attain. Much like my physique, I wish I had a better body, but I'm not going to put in the hours necessary to get it. That makes sense?
Yeah. This is where you need a genie and 3 wishes.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. And it might be one of mine, the fact that I could fix or build anything. I think that would be a cool skill to have.
Yeah.
And I'm in great awe and
From
admiration.
the reasonable wish genie, like, hey, I can grant you 3 reasonable wishes.
Don't ask for $7 billion, right?
But,
3 reasonable
we'd
wishes.
like to be a
perfect physique,
a competent handyman in good shape, and
a dynamite cook.
Perfect.
You're the perfect catch right there. You are literally the perfect catch. If you can cook like a madman, you can fix anything, and you have a perfect physique. I have none of those. 0 for 3. Those would be mine, by the way, in the reasonable wish genie.
You have the ability to entertain people for hours on end on the radio.
Sometimes. I can also infuriate people.
Yeah.
It's truly a gift. So there you go.
All right. We have still more Padres talk coming up. If you want to join us, give us a call, 833-288-0973. Finally, an off day for your San Diego Padres. You know what? An off day for us fans as well.
Yeah.
We, as much as I will probably miss them later today, like it's 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, whatever, and I'm ready to turn on the game. It's probably good for fans as well to take a day off from time to time.
Do you think so?
Yeah.
People have lost their minds. I had a guy yesterday in my DMs. I won't call him out by name. He does have a lightning bolt next to his name. I think he's a Charger fan. I think he's a big football fan. And I think really, I want to say he's new to baseball. He DM'd me yesterday when you got hurt, and he goes, "Oh, great. Here you go. Another Melvin masterclass. This injury is on Bob Melvin." And I go, "Oh my God, dude." I go, Bob Melvin knew when he was going to cramp. Hey, I know you're about to pull your hammy. I'm going to let you out there anyway. You got to think some of this stuff through. You really do. And also, Yu Darvish was at 900 pitches or whatever. Like, Yu Darvish got himself into that mess. Yu Darvish has earned the right to get himself out of it. Who else do you want on the mound other than Yu Darvish? There's not very many. You're not going to go to Josh Hader there. So out of all the other options, give me Yu Darvish. And so is he capable of throwing 108 pitches? Yeah, he is. And he's proven it in his career 1,000 times. Bob Melvin has no idea when guys are going to get injured. I said, now, conversely, and I wrote this, and I said, conversely, if he's at 160 pitches and his elbow explodes, that's on Bob Melvin. There's no question.
And I do think managers occasionally have to step in and force guys to take a day off who
100%.
don't want to, just to try to keep people fresh. But as for keeping fans fresh, being a fan nowadays is completely different than when you and I grew up. And Paul, I'm not quite as sure about you, but I was a big giant Padres fan growing up. We'd go to maybe 15 games a year, and I would watch on TV whenever they were on, which was sometimes once a week, which was really cool. And I would listen on the radio, when I was on my going to bed, and would, in the car, we'd listen a lot. You'd still only end up seeing, though, about 40 games over the course of the season, either live or on television, because they just weren't available. Now you feel like, to be a good fan, every game is on television, 162.
Yeah.
And if you feel like, I only watched 159 of them, you're like, well, you drop the ball a couple of times during the season. It's totally different now.
I mean, I panicked on Saturday having to work the Seals game while there was a Padre game on. I was in panic. I was like, man, I'm going to get home from this. I'm going to have to rewatch it, because you want to be informed. You want to be involved. It's different than just looking at a score updating on your phone. Nobody likes to watch sports that way. I especially don't like to watch the San Diego Padres that way. I need to be there in front of the TV or at the game or listening on the radio. And it just didn't work that way for me. And I felt terrible.
I'd spend 10 minutes in the morning reading the newspaper story about every game. I'd watch about 40 of the 162, and I felt like I was a pretty big baseball fan growing up.
Can you imagine now? They'd be like, you casual.
You watch 40, that's it. You watch
Loser.
40 out of 162 games. You have no idea what's going on. You're not paying attention to this team whatsoever.
You couldn't watch just 1 out of every 4 games.
Like, hey, man, did you not see last night? No, I skipped it. It is.
I'll check them out on Thursday.
Yeah. I'll watch them on Thursday. I got tickets to the game. I'm going to go to that one. No, it just will not fly anymore. But yeah, I think a day off is really, really for the players, man. They need this day off so bad. They needed that night last night to do whatever it is that they did. Let's be honest. They're probably hanging out with Haas in Chicago. We know that. Probably outraging. So just
I would bet a lot of money on that.
Yeah, lots. There's a big contingent of guys all hanging out for sure. So, which is fine. Just go out, do your thing, get your rest, get your relaxation, shut it down mentally, and get ready for a big series against the Cubbies.
All right, Padres fans, get those phone lines lit. 833-288-0973. Want to hear from you before Jake from Cespedes Family Barbecue joins us at the bottom of the hour. Also, it was a good weekend on the soccer pitch for two of our three teams. One of them, though, poor Craig. Season comes to an end.
So bummed for him.
Get to all of that coming up with Bennett Woods after a check of traffic here on 97.3 The Film. Want to stay connected with Ben and Woods all week long? Just give us a follow in the Odyssey app for easy access to clips, show reminders, and more. Simply download the Odyssey app, follow Ben and Woods to listen to us no matter where you are. Well, congratulations yesterday to both the Loyal and the Wave. Shutout victories. The Loyal 1-0 over the Tampa Bay Rowdies, and it's a busy week for the Loyal. They got 3 games: Sunday, Wednesday, Saturday. Wednesday's game's actually against an MLS team. It's the U.S. Open Cup, that open tournament for everybody. They're going to go up and play the Seattle Sounders in a game on Wednesday, but that's not a league game, so you got to kind of...
It's not a friendly.
It's not a friendly. It's a tournament. It's like an outside of your league tournament game. But then again, you don't want to cost yourself a league game, so you have to kind of be careful with the usage of players, because then you have another home game on Saturday against El Paso. Wave had a 2-0 win last night, both goals in the second half by Sophia Jakobsen and Mackenzie Doniak. They got their first road win of the year, improving to 3-1 with the victory over Angel City, which is the LA team up there. And they play again this Saturday at Snapdragon Stadium against the Orlando Pride. But unfortunately, our San Diego Sockers, who needed to both win on Friday night and then win a 15-minute mini game in the decider, did their job in the first game quite easily. They beat the Savage 6-2 to force that mini game. But in the mini game, no one scored in 15 minutes, so they went to sudden death overtime, and the Savage got the goal, 1-0, ending the dream of a three-peat for the San Diego Sockers.
What a season! I mean, it's like, and you know, our pal Craig Elston, who is just the everyman for the Sockers, was so bummed. I could see it. You know, he was.
I was watching live at the end their Twitch stream that Craig was calling. And, that's a gut punch. The season-ending walk-off goal, like a season-ending walk-off home run.
I tuned in as well, and it was under the channel of MASL Soccer, or whatever the official MASL. So does that mean Craig, being in San Diego, he has to be the
neutral, a little bit
neutral play-by-play broadcaster for both teams?
He was professional about it. Yeah, they only have the home broadcaster will do it for everybody. They don't travel, the broadcasters. So yeah, he was doing it for all the people watching in Mexico in English, I guess. And he was pro about it, but you could definitely tell it was a punch to the stomach to lose like that on a walk-off goal in overtime of a mini game.
It's tough, man. You fall in love with these teams and you fall in love with the players. And, you know, like with how I feel about the Seals, we won the West. I mean, best team in the West right now. It was a huge, huge season. But, like, I'm sick.
One more game this week. Fan appreciation night.
Yep, pretty much.
Mystery box giveaway.
Doesn't mean much in the standings at all, because we've already locked up everything that we needed to lock up. Now it's basically just don't get hurt. Don't get hurt. Don't do anything stupid. Get yourself suspended, anything like that.
I heard some of the Seals are going to be at a press conference this morning, too. They're going to be down at Snapdragon for the big lacrosse tournament.
Oh, yeah. There's the
World Cup that's coming.
It's going to be insane.
Westberg's supposed to be down there. Austin Stotts is going to be down there later this morning for a big news conference.
It was so fun. And it's just been such a fun thing to be a part of. And the experience has been amazing. But, yeah, I'm a wreck, man. The playoffs get here, and it's like we don't win. We don't continue to go. I want a championship so bad.
We'll hopefully all be going through that in October.
Yeah, it's just it's gut-wrenching.
Yeah. Let's get a couple of phone calls in here before the bottom of the hour, and Jake Mintz joining us. Let's go to Mark in Encinitas. Yes, indeedus, Mark. You're up with Ben and Woods on 97.3 The Fan. Have you not seen that? He runs in the Padres games.
Yes, Encinitas. I missed
a million times. That commercial where she rhymes every town in Southern California.
Oh, I have seen that. Yes.
Encinitas. Yes, Encinitas.
Fresno. How about Fresno? Yes, or something like that.
Exactly. Hi, Mark.
Good morning. Well, it's better than what Hacksaw used to do. Hey, one observation and one request. Sure. Observation, after the game yesterday, they said, you know, Padres get out with a 3-1 series win, as it should be. That was true last year, but I don't think the D-backs are going to roll over for us like a puppy when a big dog runs up to it like they did last year. Diamondbacks are going to be a pain in the rear this year.
I'm seeing that a lot. I am. I was talking to a buddy about it actually before the Seals game. We were having our pregame meal, and I'm seeing that a lot. And I think there's some merit to it. Obviously, they have gotten off to a really hot start. I don't want to discount what they've done. I don't, because they do have a fun, exciting team. I do think, though, Mark, I don't know that they're a playoff contender. They are going to be. Every team seemingly has that team. You're like, I just don't want to face these guys right now. We're playing great. They're playing like crap or whatever, but they can be a little bit of a thorn in your side. They are going to be thorny for sure. But until they go out and who really scares you in that lineup? Like, who are you terrified of in that lineup? Nobody. You're not terrified. Some good players. Corbin Carroll is going to be a really good player. Evan Longoria does not scare you. Christian Walker, don't leave one up. He's going to hit it out of the ballpark. But there's nobody in that lineup where you go, basically, don't put them on base, and you'll be able to handle them every time.
Yeah, there's some good bat control. They can go the other way, and you can't necessarily always stop that because in this series, there were several times the Padres
double down the
they
line.
made their pitch, and the guys, I'll just slap it the other way for a single or maybe a double. But it's hard to score a lot that way. If you have to do that 3 times in an inning, all right, I'll slap it the opposite field, then I'll do it again, and then we'll get a run home. That's 3. You have to do that 3 times in an inning just to score 1 run. Now, they did hit a couple of home runs late in the game yesterday, but to me, like you said, this is not a team that's going to be able to overpower other teams, but they are gutty, and they don't go away. They don't give up. They've got decent pitching.
They do. And again, though, decent pitching that you feel like you can handle. You feel like you can handle, Kelly.
I'll say this. If they stay healthy, they will remain around 500, and they will be a thorn in everybody's side. If they have some injuries, they'll fall off the map in the second half of the season. But they're a real team. They're a legit team.
They're. You look, and we'll ask Jake Mintz about it too when he comes up in just a few minutes. But I'm seeing a lot of that. Look, out of all the teams in the NL, they don't scare me the least, certainly. But I'm not like, ooh, man, these guys are figuring it out. They're a good team. They're just a good team. And I think the Padres went in and handled, again, not even playing near our best baseball with our superstars hitting. We handled them 3 out of 4. And it really wasn't that difficult.
The Dodgers are the mystery team.
They are a total mystery.
They obviously have guys who scare you to death, and Mookie Betts,
Freddie
Freeman. Max
Freeman.
Muncy's hot right now, and Freddie Freeman. But their 12-11 start, in some ways, is maybe even more disappointing than the Padres' 12-12 start because they've actually been hitting. It's not like their superstars have been absent the way the Padres guys, really, Manny Machado and Juan Soto, have yet to get locked in. Freddie Freeman's off to a good start. Max Muncy's been the hottest hitter in baseball for 2 weeks, and Mookie Betts is always good. And is Mookie Betts moving to shortstop now and still doing his thing? So I don't know. I'd be a little more
James
concerned.
Outman, my God,
if I was the Dodgers right now than the Padres.
Yeah, I am not discounting your point. They are going to be pesky, but they don't scare me much.
Mark, thank you for the call. We'll take some more calls in a little bit, but when we come back, it's our weekly with Cespedes Family Barbecue. Jake Mintz will join us. We'll go around Major League Baseball, get some of his observations as well, right here on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. By the way, Sammy just checked in and says he's going to join us this morning at 9:35, even though it was supposed to be his first off day in nearly like a month.
No
We will
off
talk
days
to
for Sam Levitt.
in-season Sammy in an hour. But we got Jake from Cespedes Family Barbecue standing by. Our fun Monday conversations on a grand old Monday coming up after this check
What
of
is
traffic
a conversation?
on 97.3 The Fan.
From the Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad Traffic Center, part of the Premier Auto family, here's Kelly Danick.
Traffic is sponsored by 7-Eleven. Got a collision now on northbound side of the 805 just past Palm Avenue. Looks like there's a vehicle in the center divide, one over to the right shoulder. Also an accident northbound 125 at the Hamishaw off-ramp. South 5 Coastline, an accident just before the racetrack. They are trying to clear that out of the HOV lane. Then up ahead at Del Mar Heights, getting reports of a ladder in middle lanes. At 7-Eleven, our hot coffee is fresh or it's free. We don't compromise on our premium roasts, and neither should you. Hot 7-Eleven coffee is guaranteed fresh or it's free. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
Let's go to our Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad Fan Hotline. Joining us right now on a grand old Monday from Cespedes Family Barbecue. We got Jake Mintz this week. And Jake, you guys just recorded a new podcast this morning?
Yeah, I'm finally off my PED suspension, so they let me do a podcast for the first time in over a year.
A little bit too soon in these parts, as you know. But yeah, I mean, listen, as long as you serve your punishment, you're free to come back.
Unless you're too
and dominate.
sticky, and then you're out again.
Yeah,
so.
exactly.
I'm fine. Did you guys see this new guy on the Padres who showed up this weekend?
He
With the
really
long
good.
hair?
Yeah, we've been waiting for
Hot new
this prospect to be called up, and I know the average, which a lot of people are still worried about, the average is low. He's hitting the ball exceptionally hard. Looks like a terrifying guy to try to go against and get out. Did get his first bomb over the weekend, of course. Talking about the great Fernando Tatis Jr.
We'll see if he has the wow factor.
Right. See if he's got it.
Yeah, exactly.
He's been awesome to watch. You know, he's missed a couple of cutoff men early in his right field tenure. Other than that, though, I mean, getting the balls, he's hitterish at the plate. He's hitting the ball hard. He looks like Fernando Tatis Jr. And I think, you know, the more ABs he gets, the better that kid's going to be. And he looks healthy is the most important part.
Yeah, and like just the experience of seeing him play baseball again is really wonderful. And I think when you're sitting there watching him hit or run around or emote at all, you forget about everything that's happened and it feels like no time has passed at all. And it's still Fernando Tatis Jr. playing baseball. And
Yeah.
I'm very thankful that was how I experienced watching him over the weekend. And I hope that a lot of Padres fans had a similar experience.
Jake, I want to give you and Jordan credit for something that I think is long overdue in Major League Baseball. So the Padres took 3 of 4 from the Diamondbacks over the weekend. They came one win away from a mop.
The mop.
Love the mop. So a 3-game, if you win all 3 games in a series, it's the sweep. But these guys have decided that if you do one better and take all 4 games in a series, they're calling it a mop.
Bring them up.
I like that. I like the
do too. I love it.
differentiation between the two.
Well, it's a deeper clean, guys. I mean, you know, if you have a dirty floor, most of the time you'll sweep your floor, right? How often do you mop your floor? Not often. It's a rare occurrence.
What's a
to mop.
2-game
But
then if you get both just a short series, like a Swiffer or
So Roomba?
Roomba.
no, it's a duster.
A duster.
Okay. It's a duster. There's, you know, like, oh, you drop some things on the ground, you pick them up. You pick them up a little 2-gamer. In the minors, they have like 5 and 6 game series sweeps.
Yeah.
And people have asked like what that is. I think we called that a deep clean.
Yes.
A
Cost you a little
You have to
disinfection.
go rent that like Hoover from the store
the
for
grocery
3 hours.
store. Yes, the shampooer.
The power washer.
Yeah, you got shampooed.
Right? Like that's what that is. The rug cleaner. I do watch a lot of rug cleaning videos on YouTube. I am very into
It's
that. But no, the
magical.
mop-
It always looks so magical.
It does.
It does. It does. The mop is the 4-game sweep, and it is rare to have 4 games. Even if you're a really good ball club and you're playing a really bad ball club, winning 4 in a row against the same team is very, very hard to do. And so we wanted to find a way to celebrate whenever that happened. And we did get a single mop over the last 4 days. The Pittsburgh Pirates,
Wow.
the hottest team in baseball, taking 4 in a row from the Cincinnati Reds at home. Good to have the Pirates bring out the mop. You know, you're used to seeing people bring brooms to games for the sweep. We've yet to see anyone bring a mop to a 4-game sweep. So if that happens, please let us know.
We will. If I see anything, I'll tag you guys in it. Yeah, let's talk some Pittsburgh Pirates baseball. Pretty interesting. I mean, I'm watching yesterday and saw Vince Velasquez is on the mound. I remember him. He couldn't get through 2/3 of an inning here. He's been at a few different places. One of those guys where when he first came up, I was like, oh, this kid's going to be really, really good. He throws really hard. He's got an edge to him. Again, there's some guys kind of figuring it out right now in Pittsburgh, and what a fun team to watch and root for. They got a great ballpark. Their top 3 uniforms, in my opinion. Love their unis. They always look clean. And Andrew McCutchen is back doing his thing, man. I don't think it's super sustainable, but it sure is fun 21 games in.
That's the thing. And this team doesn't suck. They don't suck. They're not an embarrassment. And I think Padres fans can understand what that experience is like, of not sucking, of going from just a total sham of a baseball team to relative competency. That's what this Pirates team is. Now, they are currently atop the NL Central. Let's wait a month or two before we can start talking about October for them. But they are good. Like, this is a good team. Some real things are happening for them. Jack Sawinski and Connor Joe in the outfield have both been incredible. Brian Reynolds is a phenomenal big leaguer. Carlos Santana has been great for them. And then McCutchen, like you mentioned, coming back to Pittsburgh, when he signed, he said, this is not a goodbye tour. Like, I'm not just doing this for the vibes. Like, I'm here to hit and I'm here to win. And a lot of people were like, all right, bro, cool. And he's been awesome. Like, he's got an 888 OPS and he's DHing a lot. And he's, the moments where you see him like putting his arm around a young Pirates player and just being cool, Andrew McCutchen, so awesome to see that happen. I'm very happy for the Pirates.
Yeah, and you look at it, and there are certain teams where the win-loss record might look good, and you're like, they're getting lucky, man. They're not scoring a ton of runs. They're winning some close ball games. Their run differential's plus 25. I mean, they're scoring runs. They are really good at home. And again, Sawinski is one that we gave them. And, again, one of those guys where you look at it and you're like, oh, Jack Sawinski's gone.
I feel like
deal.
One day in the near future, every player in baseball will be a former Padre.
I feel the same.
Yes. I think I mentioned this to you guys, but I heard a great joke last year about AJ Preller where it was like, Preller deserves a lot of credit. He built 3 postseason teams last year, Cleveland, Seattle, and San Diego.
Yeah, he did. And people say he can't develop. I mean, so clearly, like, he certainly can scout because there's guys that people want. But man, yeah, it's been fun, man. I like that. It's good for baseball when teams like that you rise up a little bit.
And Pirates also killing it on social media. I know you guys were all over this as well at Cespedes Family Barbecue. The feel good story. Drew Maggie, the minor leaguer who they called up, and they had the video of him down in the minors getting the announcement from his skipper. 33 years old.
How many games in the minors?
1,155.
Bro.
And getting a chance to come up and finally maybe make his major league debut.
So you say maybe, and that has me a little bit worried, and here's why. This gentleman, Drew Maggi, has been in the big leagues before. He was called up by the Twins for a brief stint, but I think in 2021, but never got in a game. Okay, and so he is the Brian Reynolds replacement. Reynolds went on the bereavement list. Unclear when he's going to be back. Hopefully he gets in a game before he gets sent back down. We can't have this happen again to this guy. We can't be showing the video of him getting called up and like being emotional and everyone clapping for him if he doesn't get in a game. Derek Shelton, manager of the Pirates, I think is going to get him into a game. We need to make sure he gets into a game. Otherwise, if he comes up and is a phantom player twice,
terrible.
Moonlight Graham.
Even Moonlight Graham got into the field at least once, didn't get the.
And I didn't even realize this, but the manager from Altoona who told him in that social media video, former Padres prospect Calix Crab.
Amazing.
They're all over the place.
They're everywhere. They're absolutely everywhere. Talking to our pal Jake Mintz from Cespedes Family Barbecue. What else did you guys cover on the podcast today? What else is tickling your fancy?
Oh my gosh. Well, there's so much. There's so much around the game. I was very interested in Vlad Jr.'s comments saying he's never, ever, ever going to play for the Yankees. Did you guys see this?
Yeah, that's a couple of guys. Now you got Ken Griffey Jr. that said, I'll retire. Like, I just won't play for that organization. And then Vladdy Jr. saying, yeah, no, they'll have to kill me.
But he kills it at Yankee Stadium, right?
He murdered him, I think, yesterday. And there's some level of disrespect that went on between their father and the Yankees. And I'm not sure what
Rizzo
it is.
got into it.
Rizzo got into it with Vladdy. Yeah, it was an interesting series.
There was the quote he had. It was like, "Not even when I'm dead."
Not even when I'm dead. Could you?
Which is hilarious, as if you're gonna take like Vlad Jr.'s corpse when he's dead and like put him into a Yankees unit. Like, dude, you're good. Like, we're not
got you
gonna do that. It's okay. You're fine. What I love about this is that it could be any number of things. So we know that for Ken Griffey Jr., the reason he didn't want to play for the Yankees is because the organization, he felt like they disrespected his dad.
His dad.
We
yeah.
don't know that's the case here, right? You can make that assumption considering who Vlad Sr. is, but this could be anything from that to Vlad Jr. is just like a Yankee suck guy. Like, it could be that simple. We literally have no idea. He has declined to comment on it. I just think it's funny when Yankees fans have to hear no. This is not a fan base and an organization that is used to being spurned like that. And Vladdy is still 3 years away from free agency.
And they
he's
take
like
it so
taking one of the
personally.
biggest suitors
Oh, yeah.
off the table immediately.
Off the
I
table.
absolutely love it.
I'll tell you, man, I watched I wanted to watch the Cole and Manoah game because there had been some fireworks the night before. It was on early out here on the West Coast. It was on at 10 a.m. on Saturday. Bro, they're the edgiest team I've ever seen. And it's almost kind of nerve-wracking watching the Blue Jays play. They have every dude on that team is just edgy. Like, Bo Bichette is edgy. Manoah is like terrifying. And it was a really good game. I think the Yankees ended up winning it late, but I wanted to see Cole against Manoah. Cole did dot a guy early, knocked him out of the game. And so you're just kind of waiting on the edge of your seat. The Blue Jays try to fight every single game. It's really something, this new attitude that they have. And it's actually been building for a couple of years now, but man, they're an edgy squad.
I'm excited to see them go up against the Rays. That'll be the absolute edge.
Oh, yeah.
Got Jake.
Because I think like the Yankees are too good to be edgy, or like they think they're too good to be edgy. Like, Aaron Judge is not fighting
anyone. He could be like, he's a monster of a man, but like, I don't see him ever charging the mound ever.
Sneaky gentle giant.
Yeah,
I think
100%.
Got Jake from Cespedes Family Barbecue, brought to you by Grand Ole Barbecue. Again, Grand Ole Barbecue, real barbecue, great brisket, North Park, Flint Springs, at the ballpark. Cespedes Family Barbecue, baseball podcast. They don't actually make barbecue. We've had to explain that to a few people over the last couple of weeks. It's fine. It works for me. We were talking about David Cohn earlier, Jake. I don't know if you saw his science experiment last night with the rosin and the alcohol and the stickiness. I mean, I like science experiments. I don't know if we can make that into a baseball thing, like more science and baseball at the same time. Do you think that he exonerated Max Scherzer, though, with his 3-minute segment on ESPN?
I think Max Scherzer was pre-exonerated. I think he was the victim of bad circumstance. But it was good for Cohn to go on there and share the truth, share the science. Science prevails, my friends. And David Cohn going on there with the sticky stuff demonstration, I thought was really informative. I did something like this last year. I bought a tin of Spider Tack, the sticky stuff, super goop that people were using that usually weightlifters use. And that stuff is just beyond sticky, as sticky as you'll ever see.
It's unbelievable.
It's unbelievably sticky. And the rosin alcohol mixture, I think what it showed is how it's not necessarily intentional. And what Scherzer did was within the accepted rules, and why he was so mad, because he did not feel like he was breaking a law there. Right. And so, but yeah, I'm down for more science experiments. I want a baking soda vinegar volcano next week.
Well, we're also down though when Buck Showalter and the Mets have to get suspended after the theater of the playoffs last year with our own beloved Joe Musgrove. Like we were all reveling in the fact that it was Scherzer and Buck, and I tweeted it, and I stand by this. The fact that Buck Showalter made little to no stink about it. Buck Showalter, by the way, who is a noted, I'm going to make a stink about every little thing I can, just was like, all right. And somebody made the point, probably because he doesn't know what all of his pitchers are doing. That's not something you want to know if you're a manager, ever. What I don't know won't hurt me. And then when he goes out, listens to
plausible
deniability, he walks up and he goes, oh God, yeah, that's that's discolored, and yes, his hands are sticky. All right, well, have a good day, Max. The fact that he didn't get run or make a big stink when your ace pitcher gets ejected in the third inning or whatever, that told me kind of, Jake, everything I needed to know.
Exactly. I also think it's different because it's Scherzer.
Yes.
I don't think Buck needs to stick up for Scherzer.
Well,
I
that's
actually think Scherzer would prefer to stick up for himself. You know what I mean? Like he doesn't need. I don't need you to back me up. Like I'm Max.
He's
like,
waving him
whatever.
back like, "Nah, I got this."
That's a fair point.
I
It's true.
see some comments on our YouTube stream. Tijuana Simon says, well, Max should have appealed it. Why take the hit if you didn't do it intentionally? It's not something you can disprove, though. I mean, you can scream until the end of time that I was just using rosin, but you're never going to be able to prove something you didn't do in front of an appeal panel or however they do
and
it.
it doesn't go to a third-party judge or anything like that. Major League Baseball handles the quote-unquote trial or whatever, the appeal process.
Right. And technically what he did was against the rules. Okay. So the way that the rule is written is that you cannot use any foreign substance, which he did not do. He did not use a foreign substance. However, in the rules, it says that if the pitcher's hands are, I think the wording is like abnormally sticky or notably sticky, something like that, then that is a problem. And what he had was clearly excessive enough for him to get tossed, and that's in the mind of the umpire. And what's the point of appealing if the people who suspended you are the people you're appealing to?
Yeah.
So he was just like, yeah, I'll
wear it.
Fine.
I agree. I mean, it's like, the speed limit. If you don't hit the gas pedal, but you start rolling downhill and you're going 90, doesn't matter whether you tried to go 90 or not. You're going 90. You're going to get a ticket. If your hands are really, really, really sticky,
You're going to get back.
Doesn't matter whether it's spider tack, honey, rosin, whatever. It's a suspension.
Intent does not equal impact, my friends.
That's true.
He's a lawyer too.
That's amazing. That's amazing. We are out of time, my friend. Thank you again for jumping on with us. Really appreciate it. Hope you guys have a great week. Can't wait to check out the podcast, buddy.
Thank you. Can't wait to watch more of this Tatis Jr. guy.
Tatis, yes.
Tatis?
Fernando Tatis.
Tatis.
You know his dad played in the big leagues?
Really?
Yeah, hit 2 grand slams in one inning.
Huh.
Yeah.
Jake Mintz from Cespedes Family Barbecue on our Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad fan hotline. Save money the right way with Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad. Visit them today in the Carlsbad Auto Mall. Chevrolet by New Roads. It actually was 24 years ago yesterday that Fernando Tatis Sr. hit his 2 grand slams. And on that anniversary, you saw that from the Red Sox, Masataka Yoshida hit 2 home runs in the 8th inning. The second one was a grand slam. First one was a go-ahead solo shot against the Milwaukee Brewers at American Family Field, and they batted around. He came up again with the bases loaded and hit a grand slam in his second at-bat in the 8th inning. Not quite a Tatis, but pretty close on the 24-year anniversary of Fernando Tatis doing it for the Cardinals against the Dodgers, which still stunning that Chan Ho Park was still in there to give up both of them.
That's what they said on the broadcast yesterday. I mean, you get mad at Bob Melvin not knowing when to pull a guy. Imagine leaving a guy in to give up 2 grand slams in the same inning. Bullpen must have been very, very taxed that day. Chan Ho, we're going to need you to stay out there and eat it.
Future Padre, Chan Ho Park.
Yeah. Isn't he with the organization
I think he
still?
is. Yeah, I think he is one of AJ Preller's consultants, especially on Far East Korean new players coming up. So
indeed.
All right, that wraps up our 8:00 hour here on Ben and Woods. That one flew by as well. It's going well on this Monday morning. Always like it when the show feels like there's no way we could already be going into the final hour, and yet we are here.
Welcome to baseball season, buddy.
In our final hour, Paulie's going to have a round of report. Want to get into this viral video involving Manny Machado that has taken hold of the internet over the last 24 hours.
And for all you Wrexham fans that were blowing up my DMs this weekend, we saw it. We're on it. Paulie's going to cover it in the Rondo report. You going to do that other video I tagged you again? No?
No, probably not.
On 97.3 The Fan. Definitely not.
Maybe.
I don't even know why I'm asking this question, but did you see any of that Warriors Kings game last night, Woods?
No, I watched. I told you, I watched.
I know
the
you're watching
NHL,
hockey.
I did watch basketball.
Did you catch a game last night?
But I watched an old Lakers Celtics documentary, which was really
So
good.
you missed what happened at the end of the game. Something that, you know, fans of Steve Fisher, Michigan basketball are intimately familiar with. The Warriors, down 2-1 to the Kings, were up 4 in the final minute. No, they were up 5 in the final minute, and they had the ball, but obviously the Kings putting the press on. They're trying to force the Warriors into a turnover. Steph Curry sees the trap coming, gets smart. He goes, timeout. And Steve Kerr puts his hand on his head and goes down to his knees and goes, we don't have any timeouts left.
Oh, no.
And it's a technical foul.
The Chris Webber.
The Chris Webber, yep. The Kings make the free throw, get within 4, hit a 3-pointer to get within 1. Curry misses the shot. So with 10 seconds left, the Kings have the ball and a chance to win it. And Harrison Barnes had an open 3-pointer that he was the former Warrior, just an inch or so too long on.
Was that ball tipped?
No, I think he just was a little strong. Yeah, and Warriors held on to even the series at 2 with a 126-125 win. Now, I don't know if this is true or not. After the game, Steve Kerr was very clear that it was his fault. He did not inform his players. They had used a challenge that was unsuccessful that cost them their last timeout a little bit before that. And Kerr said, I forgot to tell everybody that we were out of timeouts. He's a good coach. Even if he did say it, he's going to wear that one for his star player, Steph Curry.
Yeah, because based on the described this reaction, maybe he pissed at himself.
Maybe.
When he went down to a knee, he's like, I got to tell him. That's one of those weird kind of instances. It's not like you can look up. Is there a place to look up?
Somewhere on the score. It's always up like the corner. It's not like right there in the field of vision for an NBA player. They got the shot clock. They got the game clock. Yeah. They can probably see the score on like one of the ones above the tunnel. But that timeout, that's usually somewhere a little less accessible. So you need the coach. Usually out of the timeout, they will let them know. Okay, guys, remember, we have no more timeouts left. No more timeouts, everybody. And they'll make it pretty clear. And Kerr said that they forgot to do that. And then Steph Curry didn't know it. But either way, they held on. And that's been a really good series now. Tied at 2, going back to Sacramento for game 5. They're only separated by it's like an hour. It's a pretty close drive. Got 2 totally different cultures. You got the Warriors, the superstars, the coastal, the billionaires, and you got Sacramento, essentially the farmland of California. It's crazy that Sacramento even has a professional NBA team. It doesn't make a lot of sense, but they are filling up their arena and they're into it. And this is probably the best first round series going.
Good for them. Let's do some Reindl report.
Yeah, let's get to it.
And get things started here with our today's edition of the Reindl Report.
Now tuned into the greatest.
Welcome to the Reindl Report with Paul Reindl.
Hi, Paul.
All right. 2 stories from the world of sports that we haven't gotten to yet.
We'll start off in Major League Baseball.
And 1 story that you didn't know you needed.
Are you laughing, biatch?
It's the Reindl Report
Hey, Paul, how you doing?
Okay, how are you?
on 97.3 The Fan.
Are you ready to bless the mood? I need some help, please.
That was good.
Can I get a yeah? Oh, yeah.
All right.
All right.
Good morning, gentlemen.
How we doing, Paulie?
Doing just fine. About an hour ago, we talked a little bit of soccer. We talked about the Wave. We talked about the Sockers' tough end to their season on Friday night. But we haven't talked about maybe the biggest news in soccer over the weekend, and that is Wrexham, the team owned by Ryan Reynolds and Rob McElhenney from Always Sunny in Philadelphia. And really cool video went out over the weekend of their reaction as Wrexham won 3-1 on Saturday, and that got them promoted from the National League to the EPL, the English Football League, or the EFL, right?
Yeah, I have no idea. It's like their 3rd division.
EPL
I mean, they're still
is English Premier League.
The Premier League's the top league. And then there's like the 1st league, and then it goes down. This is like the 3rd
Got it.
division.
And it
So
was
they're moving up.
15 years to the day since their promotion, or I guess demotion at that time.
Relegation.
And man, it was so cool. Apparently Paul Rudd was actually filming the video that went around viral. And you saw Ryan Reynolds and Rob, like, as the final whistle, and everybody is storming the field. Fans are running onto the field, and the two owners, they're like weeping. They are so happy. They are crying, and they're just hugging each other. And it was a really cool moment.
This guy had a tweet. Joe Pompliano tweeted, "The Wrexham story is insane. Bought for $2.5 million. Produced docuseries on FX. Added 1 million plus social media followers. Tripled season ticket purchases. Signed sponsorships with TikTok, Expedia, etc. Now they've been promoted back to the EFL for the first time in 15 years. This is something that could have gone horribly wrong. And I don't have time to get into it, nor do I remember all the particulars. Do yourself a favor today on the off day that we have, Padre fans. Go Google Mike Piazza soccer. Read that story about Mike Piazza and his investment in an Italian soccer
like a
team.
lower division Italian team. Yeah, I kind of remember that.
Bro, they should make a movie out of that scene. This could have gone terribly wrong. Not just, we're not competitive. It's, the Americans coming over here involved in this game and blah, blah, blah. And to see what they've been able to accomplish, again, it's my weekly statement that I will, in fact, watch this docuseries at some point. I want to.
Presumably, this will be the big finale for season 2, which they've been filming, which I'm sure will be coming out. It's Hulu that they?
FX Hulu. Yeah,
FX Hulu, probably in the next couple of months here. And then remember, they're coming to San Diego.
Here,
they're going to play Man United at Snapdragon Stadium on July 25th, which will undoubtedly might already be sold out. Actually, I know tickets were going really fast. They announced that in the last couple of weeks. So Wrexham coming to San Diego this summer.
Be fun to get one of those guys on the show.
Yeah, I think that would be a great get.
Ryan Reynolds, Rob McElhenney.
I'd be nervous, especially interviewing Ryan Reynolds.
No, he'd be great.
I think
he'd be great. It would be. Yeah,
a little nerve-wracking though.
Oh, I think it'd be so fun.
Oh yeah,
it'd be a blast.
It'd be great. But he's someone who could challenge you.
We're not doing but we're not doing a let's take our shirts off contest with him because
he's very witty.
I wouldn't put it past you. Like that's one of your wacky ideas that you'd want to do.
Me and him
do a shirtless picture of all of us with Ryan Reynolds.
Okay, I mean, if we can get him, I'll do it.
If we can get Ryan Reynolds in studio, yeah, sure, why not?
Fine. Ryan Reynolds, you come in studio, we can all take our shirts off.
Holding our
fantastic. I'm gonna start my diet now.
It's not, I mean, it's not a good looking contest. It's, hey, let's interview this really sharp guy who's really funny, but he is a touch intimidating, certainly.
Yeah. Let's bring it back locally here. College baseball, really cool story.
This was awesome.
Over the weekend from the San Diego State Aztecs, TJ Fontaine threw a no-hitter against Nevada over the weekend. It was the 8th no-hitter in San Diego State history, the first since May 8th, 2009. Old Steven Strasburg threw one there. But he was actually had a perfect game, retired the first 24 batters. And then in the 8th inning, he gave up a walk. Aztecs going to win 4-0 as he got the no-no. Really cool moment.
Something in the air with some no-hitters or almost perfect games as we got home. So we got home on Friday and crushed my Jersey Mikes as I usually do and went to take a little nap. And I got an alert on my phone. We got a perfect game going in Chicago. Drew Smiley, who we will face this week. Drew Smiley against the Los Angeles Dodgers, by the way.
That was a tough way to lose one.
So, of course, right when I tune in, watch the Cubs up there. And it's one of those deals where you're like, just strike out, weak number on the first pitch, back to the pitcher. Let's get him
right back to the pitcher.
You're dominating that game. You're up 13-0 or something. Like, don't try to get on. Don't get on. Go stare at 3 pitches and get your ass back in the dugout so I can go back out and toe the rubber. Sure thing, man. Little nubber out in front of the plate. Smiley's going for it. Yan Gomes is going for it. Yan Gomes decided just to jump on his back and ride him like a piggyback and pile drives him into the ground. And I'm like, what in the world?
I don't know that they would have made the play.
I think he was going to be safe either way.
Yeah, he was a lefty. He was out of the box quick, and it
wouldn't have been that was a hit.
It was a hit.
It was the weakest possible hit.
They're just end up laying on the
Smiley laying there like he's posing for Playgirl, and then he goes, That's my bad. And Gomes is just looking like, oh no, what did I do? But the fact that he like ran out to get it and he's like, I can't stop, and just jumped on his back was incredible.
He tried to like jump over him, and
Yeah,
then
yeah.
Smiley like stood up to throw and just took him out.
But again, I mean, he Drew Smiley of all people, perfect through 7 or whatever.
Back to the original story. I don't know if you saw the highlight of the no hitter. I showed it on Friday night. I was working at Channel 10. The last out, off the bat, it looks like a double in the gap. And look, I mean, they hit it and go, that's good, ticketed. But the left fielder did a nice job racing it down and making the catch for the no hitter. But there was definitely that moment when you thought, oh, they did it with 2 outs in the 9th inning. But yeah, I think SDSU lost yesterday, but did take 2 out of 3 in the series. And USD had a sweep this weekend of San Francisco for our local college baseball teams getting near the end of their seasons.
Yeah. And finally, got a feel-good story about noted
this is
thug Manny Machado.
I thought you were going to do the Japanese karaoke.
No, you're very
Obsessed with that story. Yeah.
How could you not be?
I pretty easily cannot be obsessed with that story.
All right, go ahead with this feel-good story
Yeah,
about Manny. This is also a
feel-good.
feel-good story, by the way, the other one. Feels real good, I would imagine.
Yeah, I would imagine. Manny Machado, there was a video going around from Good Morning America, a viral video with a little boy, lives in Miami, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
And biggest Manny Machado fan in the world.
Second, but yeah.
Second biggest to Woods, of course. And this kid, all he wanted to do was see Manny Machado play. Manny got a hold of them, invited them to a game for the World Baseball Classic.
Well, I don't know if they went on their own to the World Baseball Classic to see Manny.
I thought Manny invited him.
And
to
no,
that game.
because then Manny saw the
his
video.
reaction to the
And-
first.
and
he invited
he's
to a
inviting
future
them when they come
It
back
was
to
Manny's
face
reaction to
Marlins,
the
yeah.
kid's reaction of
Grissom's
seeing him.
reaction.
Right, of Grissom.
What was your reaction?
To Grissom's reaction.
But it was just the sweetest thing. I mean,
Here's a little-
this kid loves
got
Manny
me.
Here's
Machado.
about half of the video that went around.
As you can see, Christian is wearing his Manny Machado shirt right now. He's got jerseys, he's got baseballs. His glove that he wears for baseball is Manny Machado's glove. His bat is a Manny Machado bat. You know, everything that he does really revolves around anything that Manny Machado does. I grew up a Yankee fan, born and raised.
Same.
When Christian joined us and came into our lives, he would constantly see the Yankees playing in Baltimore, and at the time, that's where Manny Machado was. And then Manny went to San Diego.
But I never thought he would go to the San Diego Padres.
It was super awesome for him to be able to go. This is being his first baseball game ever. And I kept telling myself, as soon as the game starts, make sure you get his reaction when Manny is going to come up for his first at bat. I'm glad I did. The emotion that came out of him was pure. It was the pure joy and emotion from an almost 7-year-old. The next day, posted it online just for friends and family to see. Had no expectations that any of this would have happened, but it spread like wildfire. The Padres blogger reached out to me immediately and said, hey, I need to get your Instagram because Manny saw the post and he reached out to me to connect you to. And as we started to talk, I finally became convinced, like, this is real. I gave him the Instagram handle, and gosh, within 12 or 15 minutes, Manny Machado started following me. 5 minutes later, there was a video right in my inbox on Instagram. Said, play for Manny Machado.
Looking forward to meeting you and hope to see you soon, buddy. Have a good one.
Oh my God. Oh my God. How amazing is that?
Kid is just weeping.
What a violent thug he is. A turd, as they called him in Arizona. Do you have the Arizona clip from what happened yesterday? One of our tier ones.
Turn that one
Oh, okay.
down.
I thought you downloaded it. Basically, the guy's coming back from break. I don't know who it was. I don't think it was Brenly. But he said, coming up next for the Padres, Juan Soto, Manny Machado, and whoever was behind him. I said, did he?
Xander Bogaerts.
Yeah. Xander Bogaerts. Yeah, Manny Machado.
Who is
Manny Machado? Was he doing a?
Could have been an innocent flub. But
Could have been. But I
they
figure
don't.
that Manny
They haven't
Machado
really
is
earned
a
the benefit
name.
of the doubt there.
Yeah,
in Phoenix,
they have
on their
not.
broadcast crew when it comes to the Padres and specifically Manny Machado. That was a sweet video. And
Oh, very
now I'm
sweet.
sure we'll get another one when they meet in person when the Padres go to Miami.
Yeah.
to play the Marlins here later this season.
Very, very sweet scene.
I'm impressed by the kid. What's his name? Christian?
Yeah.
Because his dad was the Yankees fan, but he on his own, watching them play the Orioles over and over, I really like this guy who plays for the other team, Dad.
Exact
This
same.
Manny Machado stands out to me as potentially a pretty good ball player. I like that.
Kid knows what's up.
Yeah.
Here's that Diamondbacks.
Oh, yeah.
There it's 7-5. As we start the ninth inning, the big boys coming up for the Padres, though. Juan Soto, Manny Machado, Xander Bogaerts.
Who is Manny Machado? You know him. He didn't just get called up. Manny Machado. That's a Freudian slip.
Did call him the big boys.
Yeah, he did. He did call them the big boys. That is a compliment.
Yeah.
They are the big boys. Manny Machado. I'm going to let this one slide.
All right.
I'm going to let it slide. I'm feeling
Which is
generous.
feeling magnanimous today.
As we start the ninth inning, the big boys coming up for the Padres, though. Juan Soto, Manny Machado, Xander Bogaerts. Here is
Now, had he said Juan Soso and Manny Machado, I would have thought that there was something nefarious going on. But
Xander Bogaerts.
Xander Bogaerts, yes. Yes. I don't want to give any of the Padre fans out there that already hate those three guys any more ammo.
I'm not saying they're Bogaerts.
Yeah, Bogaerts.
All right, Paulie, good job on the Roundel Report
Hey,
today.
thanks.
Great job, Paulie.
Good start to the show. We got a couple of segments left. If you want to
Show's
join
almost
us,
over, so
It's not a start to the show.
it's the end of the show.
it's been a good start to the show. The first 3 hours and 16 minutes
Yeah. Okay.
have been solid.
Good start.
I'm worried about these last 44 minutes.
Well,
so
now I am too, because again, you brought it up.
No,
If you
I'm
don't bring it
opening the
up-
phone lines.
Oh,
we got
no.
open calls, 833-288-0973. You want to join us and talk some Padres baseball here as they continue their road trip going to Chicago, Illinois to take on the Cubs tomorrow and then Mexico City for the Giants. Call us now, 833-288-0973. More Ben and Woods after traffic here on 97.3 The Fan. Such a nice weekend for the Padres. I almost hate to bring it up.
Oh, no. What?
Then just don't.
What is it?
Has anyone noticed that lately Nelson Cruz has turned into Pedro Serrano from Major League?
Why hasn't anybody picked this guy up? He hits a ton. That's enough fastballs, Eddie. Throw him some breaking balls. Yeah, I've noticed.
I believe the stat is now that he has seen 22 consecutive off-speed pitches.
He may see 66. Why would you ever throw him a fastball?
He was crushing it early in the season when they were throwing him fastballs, and now it's nothing but breaking balls and off-speed stuff, and he is one for his last 15 and striking out a lot. He is not seeing the spin on the ball right now. And Matt Carpenter is picking it up at just the right time. And talk this week, Padres are supposed to face two lefties again the series against the Cubs, but maybe Matt Carpenter gets a start against one of the lefties because Nelson Cruz has been struggling. It's never been a straight platoon, according to Bob Melvin.
No,
they
it
have two
hasn't.
designated hitters.
Yep.
Yeah, makes more sense usually to start Nelson Cruz against lefties and Matt Carpenter against righties. And they've even used them as pinch hitters that way later in the game. But remember yesterday, Matt Carpenter got up in the first inning, and then they brought in lefty, but they didn't go to Nelson Cruz right away, fortunately.
Glad they didn't.
Matt Carpenter ended up having a huge day yesterday. So we may see a little more Matt Carpenter, at least in the near future. I'm sure Nelson Cruz will get it going.
I'm not too worried about it. It's one of those skids, but man,
it's not like he's a rookie who's never seen big league pitching.
Right.
He's just in a bit of
they sure can't spin it up here. I've seen more breaking balls than anybody on the planet.
Yeah.
I would say maybe literally more than anybody on the planet in major league games. So I think he's going to be okay. It is something to look at, though. I mean, there's a couple of instances, Ben, where it's like, hey, man, we need a fly ball. We need a ground ball to the right side. Just put the ball in play and we'll get a run. Couldn't do it.
Yeah.
And he why would you ever throw him anything, straight right now? Because he's just not seeing the breaking ball at all.
All right, let's get out to the phone lines. 833-288-0973. In-season Sammy coming up in about 10 minutes. We got Dexter in Spring Valley. Dexter, good morning. Welcome to 97.3 The Fan.
Morning, buddy.
Happy Monday, gentlemen.
Happy Victory Monday, my friend.
Yes, indeed. Hey, so I'm going to start with a good and a bad.
I like that.
Good. Woodsy, I want to tell you guys something, and I think Woodsy will understand this. You guys are to sports talk radio in the mornings that the legendary Radio Hall of Famers, Mark and Brian from LA, are to Morning Drive Radio.
Thank you, man. That's
you
a
guys
huge
are
compliment.
awesome.
Huge compliment.
You guys
Massive.
are awesome. However,
oh God,
Ben,
no.
When you did the throw to the break before the 9 o'clock hour, as an Asian American, I am slightly offended because you used a very antiquated expression by referring to.
You're right. I did. In fact, I caught myself as I said, and I knew when I said Far East that we don't use that anymore. But that's why I switched to Korea. But I had already said it, and it was too late.
What did we say?
Yeah,
I was referring to Shanho Park did a lot of the scouting in Asia, and I said Far East, and I thought right away, I go, no, we don't use that anymore. But I didn't correct myself. I simply changed it.
Yeah, but that's not what offended me.
Oh, okay.
What offended me was, where are we? We're in San Diego, not New York. So if we're going to refer to that part of the world as anything, it should be the far west.
I like that. I like that as well.
Ben,
but it's on the other side of the international date line. I mean, we got that international date line thing.
Can we say the Pacific Rim?
The furthest west you can be is just to the right of the international date line, and the furthest east you could be would be to just to the left of the international date line.
Yeah.
But I'm just looking at it from the point of a compass from where we're standing.
That is true. You would, if you flew to Tokyo or if you flew to Seoul, you would fly west from San Diego, not east.
Not east.
It would be very inefficient.
That would be very
to go to the
inefficient.
east. No, you're absolutely right, Dexter. You can call me out on that one for sure because I mentally called myself out on that one as well. I think he is one of AJ Preller's consultants, especially on Far East Korean new players coming up. So I said I knew that was not the correct terminology. Thank you, Dexter.
Thank you, Dexter.
Let's go to Craig. You're next up on 97.3 The Fan.
Craig, good morning.
Good morning, guys.
Hey, Craig.
Hey, how's it going? Thanks for the great golf tournament. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was fun. Absolutely. Thanks for supporting us.
I don't think I've eaten since then. I think you guys fed us so much food, and I collected so many different beers that. But anyways, I was going to, for Woodsy, two things I've been meaning to tell you. I didn't get a chance to talk to you at the tournament. I was a T-ball coach for 2 years, and it was the funnest coaching experience I ever had. I just told people to run out, take their positions. Everybody naturally ran to the pitcher's position.
Yes.
So I had to always spread them out. They'd be out, kind of sitting down in the outfield doing their thing. But I was always out there trying to prompt them. So I hope you had a good time. I'm not sure if T-ball season is still going on.
Oh,
but,
it is. It is.
Just have fun with it, and they bring you a lot of joy. On the Ironman thing, what I did a very small mini Ironman with the YMCA. It was only like 100 or 200 yard swim, a 10-minute bike on the elliptical, or not the elliptical, but the bike, and then we went out and ran a mile. Then I did the Mission Bay Tri, the littler one, not littler one, a little bigger, and that's a farthest I've gone. It's about a 500-yard swim and a 5K along with I think it was a 12-mile bike. But just to do that and work up to it, it does take a little bit of time. I can not imagine what your brother did.
I can't either, man. I'm very, very proud of him.
There's a
15
triathlon,
hours.
and then there's the Ironman triathlon.
Yeah, it was nuts.
It's the same endeavors, but it's a little. It's apples and oranges a little bit, I think. But it's the distance that makes that one so unbelievably impressive.
So proud of him, man. It's just truly a massive, massive accomplishment. And he went right to the hotel and ate like 2 pieces of pizza. That's all he could handle. And I talked to him the next morning. He goes, I'm dying. And now it was actually in Houston. He had to drive back to Austin, a 3-hour drive. He goes, this is going to be the worst part. The sitting in the car, driving back.
And just seizing up as you drive back.
He said it was just horrible. I need to check in with him today. But yeah, very proud of my brother. Brent Woods did an Ironman in his first try, finished it in 15 hours and 27 minutes, which is just amazing. So congrats to him. Thank you guys.
All right, we're going to take our last time out. We'll get caught up in season. Sammy, even though this is his first off day in forever,
I tried to give him the day
still going to
off.
join us.
He's such a gamer.
When
He's
we
like
come
Cal
back.
Ripken of this radio station.
After a big weekend in Arizona, Sam Levitt joins the program next on 97.3 The Fan. Padres take 3 of 4 from the Arizona Diamondbacks over the weekend. Fernando Tatis Jr. is back in the lineup, and things are going better, but I wouldn't say all is necessarily well yet in Padres land, just trending in the right direction. We'll talk with in-season Sammy, Sam Levitt, our pre- and post-game show host, right after this check of traffic on 97.3 The Fan.
From the Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad Traffic Center, part of the Premier Auto family, here's Kelly Danick.
Traffic is sponsored by the San Diego County Sheriff's Department. Couple problems in the North County westbound side of the 78 at Nordall Road. There is a collision. It's a couple vehicles involved. Does not appear to be blocking lanes. Also, eastbound side of the 78 before Nordall Road, there is a stalled vehicle blocking middle lanes. You'll find on the southbound side of the 5, right around La Jolla Village Drive, a roll of carpeting reported in the slow lane. The San Diego County Sheriff's Department is working hard to keep San Diego safe and is now hiring. The Sheriff's Department offers rewarding careers with growth and has an opportunity for anyone with integrity that wants to make a difference. Go to joinsdsheriff.net to learn more. That's joinsdsheriff.net. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben & Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
To be honest, we're probably violating some sort of labor laws by even having Sam Levitt on this morning. He's worked something probably close to 59 out of the last 60 days at least for 97.3 The Fan. But here he is on our Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad Fan Hotline, our pre- and post-game show host, in-season Sammy. Good morning on your day off, Sam.
Good morning. Greetings from Pacific Beach on my day off, but happy to join you guys. I will say this because we talked about it during spring training. Paul did give me the option to skip this morning, but I thought now that we're down to 1 day talking per week, I can't do that. So happy to talk to you guys. Talking to you guys never feels like work.
Well, we could have pushed you, I mean, we could have bumped you and
on Wednesday or something.
Yeah, exactly, man. Just never feel that we're putting the pressure on you. We're not like Adam. We're different. We're gonna let you, do what.
But you get
wanna
all
do.
the rest of the day today, and then the game doesn't start until like 4:40 tomorrow. So
Yeah.
tomorrow morning you can really settle into some nice Sammy time.
Yeah, and day off Friday, and then we have another day off next week in between home games. So we're going to catch up here on the days off pretty quickly, which is good.
Excellent, Sammy. So, obviously did not start well Friday night. Well, 1-1 after Friday night, and there was a lot of panic getting shut out again, and I think that is a concern. 4 shutouts. How many this season?
4. Yeah, I think so.
4 shutouts.
4, but you're right. 4 in the span of 12 games, and 3 in the span of 6 games after that game on Friday.
Yeah, it's so rough. There's no explanation for it other than the obvious one. Guys aren't hitting. Guys are not hitting. They're not hitting with runners in scoring position. Really, really nice to be able to not only come back and take 3 of 4 from a really good team, but to be able to do it after, in fact, having the bats go ice cold on Friday night. But I love about this team that it's a multitude of guys getting it done. One night it's Trent Grisham. Next day, Ha-Seong Kim gets a big knock. Yesterday was the Matt Carpenter day. This team is more than obviously Juan Soto and Manny Machado and Xander Bogaerts and now Fernando Tatis Jr.
Right. And, after the shutout on Friday, admittedly, I think I was talking about it during the post-game show. Look, it was hard to explain because you were looking at 4 shutouts in 12 games, 3 shutouts in 6 games. And admittedly, I think a lot of fans out there were really frustrated and getting kind of nervous about what's going on. And, I think this is a good moment with the off day to zoom out and see where this team's at, a team that has not been whole without Fernando until this past series, without Joe Musgrove until this past series. Obviously, the offense has not clicked on all cylinders yet, but you zoom out and they're 12-12 and they're a half game out of first place in the NL West, and they have some more off days coming up. The bullpen is getting much deeper with the additions of Martinez and Weathers. And I think it's going to be okay. I think this is hopefully a moment where they've won 4 out of 5. They have some off days. You go win another series in Chicago. You keep it rolling into Mexico City, come home. It feels to me like now this is an opportunity for this team to start playing better and start to take off a little bit. And hopefully they can do that. So, I just thought yesterday it was a good moment to zoom out and realize that, even though it has not been the start everybody wanted, especially on the offensive side, it's been underwhelming, and everybody didn't expect this team to start 12-12. You would have wanted better than that, no doubt. But they're still a half game out of first place. Like it hasn't been a disastrous start, especially with the teams they played and what they've dealt with. And one more point on what you said, Woodsy. I think the last 2 days, even though the top of the lineup wasn't really firing on all cylinders yet, was a good example. I thought in the first inning yesterday, especially, of what this offense is capable of, because you saw in that game yesterday, Tatis, a base hit. Soto gets on with a base hit after him. Top of the lineup is getting on base, hitting the ball hard, making things happen. And even when the top four don't produce a run, well, then you have Cronenworth behind them who can drive in a run with a sac fly. Then a guy like Matt Carpenter or Nelson Cruz in that spot who's capable of driving in runs and making things happen. So to see guys in the middle to bottom half of that lineup produce, contribute to a couple of wins, even when the top of the order still isn't really firing on all cylinders, yes, a very good sign. And hopefully when those big four at the very top are really going all together, that's when you'll see the special nature of this offense really be able to shine through.
Talking to our pal in season, Sammy Levitt here on Ben and Woods. Very much appreciate the time. And, I have to imagine, we've talked about it ad nauseum on this program, managing a bullpen in the big leagues has got to be one of the worst, most frustrating, toughest, crystal ball things to do. And everyone questions you when you go to the wrong guy at the wrong time and you didn't know it was the wrong guy. You thought it was the right guy because he told you, I'm good to go, Skip. I've got it. I'm feeling great. Great. So you're going to trust your guys. I think Bob Melvin has done a pretty good job managing this bullpen, and they're, by all accounts, I mean, it's hard to manage a great bullpen. I wouldn't call the San Diego Padres bullpen great. I know there's a couple of guys down there that are struggling, like Luis Garcia. Ray Kerr is just an unproven guy. I don't think Bob's going to have a lot of trust in him, even though he did pitch pretty well on Friday. Steven Wilson has been a revelation. But when you look at this bullpen, Sammy, what are kind of your thoughts on it? Because I'll tell you, outside of Josh Hader, I mean, even Brent Honeywell got touched up for a couple of bombs yesterday. Outside of Josh Hader, really, and Steven Wilson, it's a little dicey when some of these guys come in.
Well, first the points on Wilson and Hader. Wilson has been awesome, and I know he's using that sweeper more, and he's getting a lot of weak contact, a lot of swings and misses. To me, Steven Wilson, outside Josh Hader, has been the most impressive guy in this bullpen. He's been really good. The stuff, obviously, we know is really good, and he's been dominant. So that's a great sign and something the Padres need without Robert Suarez. And if they had a healthy Robert Suarez, then, it does a couple of things. It means that you know exactly who you're going to and everybody's available in a, traditional setup role in the eighth inning, but the Padres don't have that. And it right now in Suarez, and it just shortens the game because for the final 6 outs, who you're going to. Look, Josh Hader, you cannot understate how important he is and how good he's been. I mean, I think with a closer like that, it's easy to overlook it and take it for granted because it's something that all teams don't have, which is a lockdown closer. He was perfect in this series. I don't know if people realize he went 9 up, 9 down in the 3 saves in this series. So he has been automatic, picks up right where he left off in the postseason last year. And that is such a luxury to have in a bullpen and for a baseball team when you can flip the ball to somebody in the 9th inning, whether it's a 1-run lead, a 2-run lead, a 3-run lead, and in all likelihood, this guy is going to get the job done. And for the most part for Hader so far, it's been without much drama. I mean, there hasn't been, many walking the tightrope scenarios. So that's really important and something you can't overlook. Obviously, Wilson's been good. Hill's had some good moments, had some tougher moments like yesterday. Honeywell obviously has done pretty well, got hit with the back-to-back home runs yesterday, but those things will happen. Hopefully Garcia's all right after getting hit by that comebacker. I do think getting Martinez in that bullpen will be a big plus. I mean, talk about somebody that can be super effective, that can pitch 1 inning if you need him to, but if you also need him to go 3-4 innings one night, or it's more of a scheduled appearance, however they decide to play this, I think it makes the bullpen that much deeper. And then Ryan Weathers, hey, what he did the other night, pretty impressive. I mean, this is somebody who was a starting pitcher all spring, into the beginning of the year, and then all of a sudden is basically in a traditional bullpen role, throws a scoreless inning. So if he can continue to do what he's done in the rotation now in the bullpen, it does, in my mind, without Robert Suarez, really deepen this bullpen. So hopefully in that sense too, with the bullpen, you're taking steps forward there, even without Robert Suarez. But you know, for the most part, there's been a number of guys here that have really done nicely and stepped up, I thought.
Sam, you deal even more directly with Padres fans than we do, especially the emotional ones right after the game.
For yourself
on the post-game show. Well, you do on social
Speak
media
for
for
yourself.
sure.
Good Lord.
My question though is I'm not one to tell people how to fan your team, your choice, how you watch. Has there been any, because I think any reaction to Manny Machado's slow start is fairly short-sighted given how consistent he has performed over his career. Have you noticed anything from Padres fans, frustration, reaction to Manny's slow start this season?
I'll be honest, guys, and I don't know about you guys if you've seen it, and maybe you have. I feel like with Manny, I really haven't on social media or calls and things like that. And
nice for you.
And rightfully so. I mean, yeah, that's what I was saying. I don't know about you guys because I don't know what you guys see, and you may get different fans that I get in my timeline. But talk about somebody that's built up, I think, enough equity here to, you know, be able to withstand a slow start. I mean, this is a guy who always puts up the numbers, right? And was terrific last year and carried this team offensively. We know everything he did last season. And if not for the ankle injury, might go win the MVP. It's been a slow start. There's no way around it. But again, we talk about the small sample size of these things and kind of zooming out here at 24 games in and realizing, all right, you're 12-12. It's not what everybody wanted, but it's also like you're a half game out of first place and it's not the end of the world. I think the same can be said about Manny's start. You know, it hasn't been what you thought it would be, but if there's one guy in this lineup that has showed you what he can do and you know, if you're a betting man, I think you'd bet on him bouncing back here in the somewhat near future. It would be Manny Machado. So to answer your question directly, Ben, I have not seen a ton of it. It's not like we've got a ton of phone calls on the post game, you know, kind of talking about Manny. Certainly with the Juan Soto situation, I think, you know, there's been a little bit more concern there that I've seen. And that probably has to do more with the trade and still waiting for him to really show, you know, that ultimate version of Juan Soto, which we haven't really seen yet in San Diego. But with Manny, I haven't seen a ton of it, which for me has been good, but obviously for you guys, maybe a little bit different.
I mean, I'm like 90% sure that Juan Soto is going to be Juan Soto and get going. I mean, there is a little doubt in my mind after now a couple of months at the end of last season and a slow first month. With Manny, I have no doubt. And I know that even every player at some point is going to go and have a cold season, but there's nothing that the Padres can or should do. Manny Machado is their guy. He's going to be their guy for a long time. And if you're going to trust someone, who better to trust than Manny Machado that he's going to get going? Right. I think the day off on Saturday, also a sign that he won't talk about it, but he's not 100% right now. There's something that he's dealing with back-wise or otherwise, and he'll start feeling healthier and he'll produce. We just have to be patient right now.
Yeah, I agree with you, Ben. I mean, I really have no doubt that he's going to turn it around and produce, and it's a good point on the day off. I mean, this is somebody who rarely takes days off, full days off, right? And whatever was bothering him, and maybe it was a mix of the back and the stiffness and the struggles he's had, but they felt like, okay, let's give him a breather. And you know what? Not to make excuses for this team, but it's been a rough stretch of games. I mean, 24 games in 25 days to begin a season is tough. 18 games in 18 days to begin, you know, in an early stretch of the season is tough. So, you know, hopefully the off days here mixed in, maybe that'll do everybody a little bit of good, but I'm with you. I'm not concerned about Manny. If there's one guy in this lineup who I think is, again, built up that equity where you trust that he's going to be able to turn things around, it's Manny Machado. And I do think the top four all surrounding each other in the lineup when they're all going right I mean, it should be really special, and they should provide wonderful protection for one another in that lineup. But this should work really well, and hopefully here in the days to come, we'll see that with all 4 of these guys.
All right, Sammy, shut it down. Enjoy the rest of the day off. Enjoy tomorrow morning. We'll all tune into your pregame show tomorrow at like 3:40 to start the Cubs series. But this is now your time. Thank you so much.
All right, guys. Thank you.
Thanks, Sammy.
Sam Levitt on our Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad fan hotline. Save money the right way with Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad. Visit them today in the Carlsbad Auto Mall. Chevrolet, find new roads. I mean, you look, and the fact that the Padres didn't have Tatis for most of the first 24 games. Juan Soto is hitting under 200. Manny Machado is yet to get going. The fact that they're 12-12, most teams would not be able to survive a cold stretch like that from star players. They'd be 6 or 7 games under 500. Not that that would be the end of the world either at this junction of the season, but it's great that they've had other guys step up. They've had the ability to sneak out a few wins. It's almost like a little extra money in the bank here at 12-12 without really having seen the Padres at anywhere close to their full potential.
No question about it. No question about it. I think again, I firmly believe in track records. I firmly believe that cream rises to the top. I know that they know what's at stake. I know that they want to get further than they did last year. I know that everyone's trying. Everyone's putting in the work. The results in a results-based business have to be there. They just have to be there at some point. And it's such a weird game. No, it's almost counterintuitive. No, I'm just going to keep my routine. I'm going to keep doing the same thing, and it will happen. I truly believe that is the right thing to do. I don't think you need to go in if you're Juan Soto or Manny Machado or, Ha-Seong Kim. Yes, you can make little adjustments, but you don't need to completely revamp your swing. Just keep grinding on it.
I don't think Manny Machado is even pressing at all.
I really don't
think the results aren't coming. I would say Juan Soto.
He's pressing
a little bit. He's a little bit in his own head now.
Little jumpy.
Still getting on base.
Yeah,
almost
but
I mean,
clip.
even some of the pitches he's not swinging at, the ones that are hittable down the middle.
I know nothing about hitting at that level. Nothing. But Juan Soto is a pull happy hitter right now. When he does swing, he is looking to yak that ball 500 feet down the right field line every time. And he is truly deadly. Remember what we used to say about Will Myers? Boy, when he goes cold, it is an ugly sight. But when you start seeing that ball shoot out to the right center gap and shoot, when he stopped trying to pull everything, Manny's the same way. When Manny starts hitting it oppo, you know that they're locked in.
Yeah, I really haven't seen anything that concerning about Manny. Yeah, he's some righties. Throw that slider outside, he chases, but he's always done that. And he still put up huge numbers.
That's exactly right.
There's nothing new about that.
New. You're not seeing anything from Manny that you haven't seen before.
He's just not having balls fall in, and he's not quite driving it the way that he has.
Soto, you're seeing something different.
Yes, I agree.
You're not seeing a part of his game that we're used to seeing. And that's the weird part, is everything is in the bucket. Everything is trying to rip down the line. He's got such a good eye. He's not susceptible to swinging at those pitches down and out. Like, he's going to figure it out.
Good Monday show now.
Great show.
No pressure, Woods, but with the day off today for the Padres, you're a very creative guy. You can put on your creativity hat for tomorrow on the show. And I will be a little more receptive to some of your ideas.
I've got an idea. I've got a karaoke idea that I've been wanting to run by you guys.
Idea.
Let's do it. We're doing it tomorrow.
That one.
7 a.m.
For Paul Reindl, for Stephen Woods, I'm Ben Higgins.
Karaoke.
Coach coming up
Ben
next on 97.3 The Fan.
It's happening.